Since we were kids, one thing has been universal. Everyone has kicked the ball. It doesn't matter where you grew up. You know the game, the sport that brings everyone together, whether you're playing in the street, at the park, or just watching a big game. It's pure passion. Now, imagine taking that sport everyone loves and mixing it with supernatural powers, goalies who guard the net like living iron walls, and kicks that literally defy the laws of physics. Sound crazy? Well, that's exactly what Inazuma 11 did. This Japanese anime took soccer and turned it into something completely insane, filled with special techniques with epic names. And the coolest part, it managed to be genuinely thrilling, with charismatic characters, intense rivalries, and that classic message of never giving up on your dreams. It's not just a sports anime, it's a roller coaster of emotion, friendship, and matches that decide the fate of the world, literally. That's why today on the channel, Inazuma 11, the anime that turns soccer into an epic battle.
Fire tornado!
Here we meet Mark Evans, the most optimistic captain in the world, who leads the Raymond Junior High soccer team. The problem? The club is on the verge of being shut down. They only have 7 players, get mocked by everyone, and can't even find a field to practice on. Despite all this, Mark dreams of playing in the Football Frontier tournament. He tries to cheer up the team, but morale is at an all-time low. During an impromptu practice session with some kids, a mysterious guy shows up and unleashes a shot so powerful, it leaves everyone speechless. The next day, that same guy, Axel Blaze, introduces himself as a new transfer student. Mark, of course, immediately tries to recruit the phenom, but Axel lays down the truth. He has quit soccer for good. To make matters worse, the principal summons Mark for an emergency meeting. The news is a bombshell. The team must play an exhibition match against Royal Academy, a team that is completely undefeated. If Raymond loses or fails to gather 11 players, the club is done for. Scrambling, Mark convinces Nathan to join the team after seeing his dedication. With 10 players on the roster, Willie Glass, an oddball who only agrees to play if he gets the number 10 jersey, appears out of nowhere. On the day of the match, the slaughter is inevitable. Royal Academy scores 18 goals in the first half alone. When all seems lost, Axel steps onto the field, ignores the taunts, and unleashes his special move, the Fire Tornado, scoring a spectacular goal.
Fire tornado!
Royal Academy is so shocked that they give up the match, handing Raymond a victory and saving the club. After the miraculous victory against Royal Academy, the team celebrates, but Captain Mark is already thinking about the future. He knows the team needs more stamina and introduces a tactical formation he found in his grandfather's notebook. Not everyone is on board with the idea, especially Kevin Dragonfly, who feels undermined. The school board informs them that their next match is against a cult junior high. Sinister rumors start to spread about the rival team, telling tales of mysterious fevers and supernatural winds that occur during their matches. Stuff straight out of a horror movie. During practice, Kevin, frustrated at not having a special shot like Axel, takes his anger out on a teammate. Mark confronts him, and Kevin opens up, admitting he's jealous. With the captain's help, Kevin begins intensive training and finally develops his own super shot, the Dragon Crash. Meanwhile, we learn about Axel's personal drama. He visits his sister Julia, who has been in a coma since an accident that happened while he was on his way to last year's finals. He blames soccer and has vowed never to play again until she wakes up. But then Nellie, the chairman's daughter, gives Axel a reality check, telling him his sister would surely want to see him on the field. Inspired, Axel finds Mark and announces he's ready to join the team. Now, with Axel back and Kevin's new power, Raymond is ready for the supernatural challenge. Analyzing the beating they took from Royal Academy, Mark decides it's time for a change. He gathers the team and presents a new tactic taken directly from his grandfather's secret notebook. Axel's absence creates a tense atmosphere, and Kevin feels the pressure of having to be the main forward. In the middle of the meeting, Principal Nellie shows up with bombshell news. In 1 week, they will face a cult junior high. Desperate to prove his worth, Kevin starts training aggressively, creating friction with the rest of the team. Meanwhile, Mark visits Axel at the hospital and discovers his secret. His sister Julia is in a coma because of an accident that happened on the way to one of his games.
Because when she was on her way to the game, just before the game started, I heard about the accident.
Because of this, Axel has sworn off soccer until she wakes up. Inspired by the team's grit, reporter Celia Hills joins them as the new manager. Under Mark's guidance, Kevin manages to turn his frustration into power and creates a unique shot. With a kick of pure determination, he kicks a ball that forms the image of a dragon, naming the move Dragon Crash. And to cap off their training, Axel makes a surprise appearance and announces his return. The team is complete, stronger, and ready to face Occult Junior High. Axel finally joins the Raymond team, giving the offense the upgrade everyone was waiting for. The team goes to spy on their next opponent, Brainwashing Junior High, and discovers they have a weird ace up their sleeve, the Ghost Lock, a tactic that literally paralyzes players. In the match, Raymond starts strong, with Kevin scoring a killer goal with his Dragon Crash, but the joy is short-lived. The Brainwashing team activates their curse, freezing Raymond's defense and turning the game around to 2-1. Things are looking grim. During halftime, Mark, who's no fool, figures out that the Ghost Lock is a total sham. It's a form of mass hypnosis caused by a chant from the opposing coach. With the mystery solved, Raymond returns for the second half with a fire in their eyes. Mark breaks the spell with a shout, like an anime hero awakening his power, and even blocks a shot with the fireball knuckle. The game heats up again. To put the nail in the coffin, Axel and Kevin decide to pull a Dragon Ball style fusion, creating the Dragon Tornado.
Dragon! Tornado!
The result is an amazing goal that secures a 4-3 victory. With that, Raymond qualifies for the Football Frontier Tournament. The Football Frontier Tournament is officially announced, and Raymond already has its first challenge, Wild Junior High. To strengthen the defense, a new guy named Bobby joins the team and immediately lays it on the line. Wild's strength is their aerial play, which means the Dragon Tornado won't work. Basically, Raymond's main weapon has been neutralized before the game even starts. Meanwhile, Mark discovers a family secret. His grandfather, David Evans, was the coach of the Inazuma 11, the legendary team everyone idolizes. It's like finding out your grandpa was Pele and never told you. Another secret notebook that once belonged to David is discovered at the school, but the notes are so cryptic that only Mark can decipher them. Inside the notebook, he finds the key to victory, the Inazuma drop technique. The play is insane. One player jumps and acts as a human springboard for another to perform a volley in midair. Axel is chosen to finish the move, but the base of the play, Jack, has a crippling fear of heights. Now Raymond's mission is to help Jack overcome his fear and master the technique before the decisive match. Intensive training mode begins. Training for the Inazuma drop continues, but it's not going well. Jack just freezes up with fear every time he needs to jump, and they can't pull off the technique. The day of the match against Wild Junior High arrives, and the opposing team enters the field dominating with their aerial plays and brute force, exactly as Bobby had warned. Raymond is under major pressure. To make matters worse, Kevin gets injured and has to be subbed out for Bobby. With the team cornered, Mark gives Jack a movie-worthy motivational speech. It seems to work. In the final stretch of the match, when all seemed lost, Jack finally overcomes his trauma. He trusts his team, executes the perfect jump, and becomes the human springboard Axel needed. Together, they unleash the Inazuma drop and score the only goal of the match, securing a 1-0 victory.
That I will do the Inazuma drop!
Raymond advances in the tournament, but the news doesn't stop there. Nelly takes over as the team's new coach, and to complete the picture, spies from other teams are already watching Raymond's plays, ready to copy their techniques and make their lives harder in the future. Coach Nelly calls a halt to practice when she realizes spies from a rival team are watching them. To keep their strategies from leaking, she forbids everyone from using their special moves in public. It's like Batman hiding the blueprints to the Batcave. Meanwhile, we see a team of cyborgs led by a B-movie villain of a coach, analyzing all of Mark's team's data. Their plan is simple: use technology to predict every play and ensure a crushing victory. Basically, it's Skynet versus a soccer team. Without a place to train in secret, the team is almost out of hope. But then Nelly's father, who is also the school chairman, steps in. He reveals the existence of the Inazuma Training Center, a top-secret underground facility that the legendary Inazuma 11 used. It's the perfect hideout, almost like the hyperbolic time chamber. Inside, the team goes goes through a brutal training regimen that tests all their limits in a montage worthy of a Rocky movie. After pouring their sweat and tears into it, they finally arrive for the match against Brainwashing Junior High. The stadium is bizarre, surrounded by giant antennas, looking more like a massive base than a soccer field, as they prepare for the decisive showdown. The match against Brainwashing Junior High begins, and the guys are literally machines. Using computer data, they predict every pass and dribble from Mark's team, scoring an easy goal in the first half. During halftime, Mark, who doesn't take things lying down, confronts the opposing goalkeeper, giving him a piece of his mind about sportsmanship. It seems the protagonist's speech moved the guy. In the second half, the Cyborg team changes tactics and decides to stop, just passing the ball around to run out the clock without even trying to attack, a cowardly strategy that pisses everyone off. Seeing time running out, Mark and Axel decide it's showtime. They create a brand new secret move, the Inazuma 1, and manage to tie the game.
Now kick!
With the score even, Brainwashing goes into desperation mode and resorts to aggression, turning the end of the match into chaos. Their goalkeeper even leaves the box and shoots for the goal, but Mark blocks it with his legendary God Hand. In the final seconds, Axel uses the Fire Tornado and scores the winning goal. After the match, the robotic coach is fired, and Mark, like a true hero, invites the goalkeeper for a fair rematch. But then comes the bombshell. Axel got injured and won't be able to play in the semi-final. With Axel on the sidelines, the team has to figure things out for the semi-final against Otaku Junior High, a team of nerds who, surprisingly, eliminated the tournament favorite. To understand how these guys play, the team decides to go on a spy mission and ends up at a maid cafe. There, they discover the players are fanatics of a famous manga, which happens to be created by the Otaku team's own coach. Their strategy is basically to imitate the heroes they love so much. The game starts, and the Otaku team spends the entire first half on defense, but in the second half, all hell breaks loose. They start cheating in a way that's so absurd, it's almost a joke, moving the goalposts with the remote control and even swapping the ball for a watermelon mid-play. Mark, outraged, exposes the charade. Willie, one of the team's rookies, confronts the Otaku players, reminding them that the heroes from the manga they admire would never do something so low. The speech works, and the guys decide to play fair. Willie gets badly injured to score the tying goal, and in the final minutes, Kevin seals the victory. After the game, they find out the Otaku team only wanted to win so they could travel to the US and buy some rare action figures. Willie then promises that if Raymond wins the tournament, he'll bring the figures back for them himself. Bobby's double life is taking its toll. On one hand, he's a Raymond player. On the other, he's a spy for Royal Academy. The pressure mounts when his commander gives him a sinister order. Stop Raymond from reaching the final, no matter the cost. Things are getting serious. Meanwhile, Coach Wintersea decides to take the no matter the cost part literally and sabotages the team bus by draining the brake fluid.
By the way, I'll give you a little piece of advice, Bobby. I wouldn't get on that bus if I were you.
A plan worthy of a B-movie villain. But Nelly, who is no fool, figures it all out and corners the coach. The result? He's fired. With everything falling apart, Bobby can't take it anymore and confesses everything. He's the traitor. The team is furious, and rightfully so, but Mark, with a heart the size of a stadium, defends him. To explain himself, Bobby comes clean and tells a tragic story about his friend Eric, which renews his desire to play for real. But now there's a huge problem. Raymond is without a coach, and without a leader on the bench, they risk being disqualified. The team needs to find a replacement immediately, or their championship dream will go down the drain before the final even begins. With the final just around the corner, the team is desperately searching for a new coach. All clues point to Seymour Hillman, the owner of the noodle restaurant, who seems to know a lot more than just how to cook perfect ramen. Then, a detective shows up and drops a bombshell on everyone. The tragic story of the original Inazuma 11 team. 40 years ago, their bus was also sabotaged right before the final against Royal Academy. The crash was so bad they had to forfeit the match. It seems history likes to repeat itself. To convince Hillman to take the job, Mark does what he does best. He challenges the man to a goalkeeper duel. When Mark uses his God Hand, Hillman has a flashback and remembers David Evans, Mark's grandfather. This connection to the past is enough. He agrees to coach the team. With a legendary coach in command, Raymond gets ready and heads to the final at Royal Academy. To make matters worse, Ray Dark, the mastermind behind everything, goes straight to provoke provoke Mark. He plays dirty, revealing that Celia is Jude's sister, and that a victory for Raymond will separate the two forever, a low blow meant to destabilize the captain. Meanwhile, Jude, showing he's changed sides, secretly begins to inspect the stadium, looking for traps, and he finds them. During the game, loose bolts cause steel beams to fall from the ceiling, but thanks to Jude's warning, the team narrowly avoids disaster. At that very moment, the detective appears and exposes Dark's entire sabotage scheme, and he is arrested on the spot. With the evil plan revealed, the royal team apologizes and offers to forfeit, but Mark, being the hero he is, refuses. He insists on playing a real match for the pure love of the sport. With a substitute coach on Royal's bench, the real game finally begins. Raymond Junior High faces Royal Academy in the district final, and things immediately heat up. Jude Sharp, our Darth Vader in goggles, pulls out a new technique called Emperor Penguin No. 2. The name is a bit silly, but the shot is so brutal it completely shatters Mark Godhand and opens the scoring. To make matters worse, Bobby attempts a heroic block and ends up badly injured, leaving the field. With Jude's personal situation weighing on his mind, Mark is completely lost on the field, looking like he's seen a ghost. Luckily, Axel, the group's therapist, snaps him out of it and bluntly says, "Focus on the game." The scolding works. Mark awakens and in a stunning turnaround uses the fireball knuckle to tie the game. Yes, the goalkeeper helped tie the score. Just animate things. In the second half, Royal comes back with everything they've got, using Emperor Penguin again, but now Mark is prepared and blocks it with a double god hand. Mark steps out of the goal, and together with Axel, they unleash a brand new move, the Inazuma one drop. They fire it straight into the opponent's net, turning the score around to 2-1. After the match, Jude reveals to Celia that he made a deal with his father to adopt her, but she decides to stay with the Hills family. After their epic victory, the Raymond Junior High crew is in full celebration mode, but the joy is short-lived because here comes the plot twist. Royal Academy will also compete in the Nationals, as they were the previous year's champions. It seems they won't be getting rid of Jude and his crew that easily. To warm up, the team plays a friendly match against the legendary original Inazuma 11, the team of veterans. At first, the old-timers are rustier than an old gate, playing some pretty mediocre soccer, but then Coach Hillman gives a movie-worthy motivational speech, and the guys' fighting spirit is resurrected. They start showing off their iconic techniques, like the Firebird, proving that class is permanent. The weirdest part is that Nathan and Axel learn the technique just by watching, like copy and paste. Meanwhile, Nathan is under immense pressure from the track and field club, which wants him back. With the national championship about to begin, Nathan makes his final decision and confirms he's staying with the soccer team. His friends are happy he chose the sport that makes him truly happy. Amidst this, the school chairman shows up with a tempting offer, a brand new clubhouse for the team. But Mark, like any good shonen protagonist, refuses. He values the history of the old shack they call a club. But then drama strikes hard. Chairman Raymond gets into a car accident right as he was heading to the stadium. The news hits like a ton of bricks and leaves the team completely shaken. Despite this, they have to take the field for their tournament debut. Raymond's next game in the football frontier is against Shuriken Junior High, a team trained in ancient ninja techniques. Yes, you heard that right. Soccer has now turned into an episode of Naruto. Before the match even starts, their forward, Sail Bluesy, shows up looking to test his strength against Axel and challenges him to a speed duel. But it's Nathan who steps up, not backing down and showing he's the team's Flash too, accepting the challenge and flaunting his agility. During the match, Shuriken proves the ninja talk wasn't just for show. They use bizarre tactics like shadow stitching that literally pins players' feet to the ground, and sandstorms that create a smokescreen in the middle of the field, leaving Raymond completely lost. Things get so serious that Mark even injures his hand trying to block a super powerful shot. At halftime, the score is 1-0 to Shuriken. Raymond is on the ropes, but not out. Nathan, inspired by the presence of his friend Miles in the crowd, gains new motivation. He uses this energy to score a fantastic goal with the Fire Rooster, tying the game. Shortly after, Axel follows his friend's lead and sends the ball into the net with the Fire Tornado, securing a spectacular 2-1 comeback. After the final whistle, Nathan explains to Miles that what he loves about soccer is the intensity and teamwork, deciding once and for all that his place is with with Raymond. While the team is training, Celia shows up with a bombshell piece of news. The Royal Academy was completely annihilated, 10-0 by Zeus Junior High. And the weirdest detail, Jude wasn't even on the field. Raymond is left speechless, unable to understand how the strongest team in the tournament could suffer such a crushing defeat. Jude himself, completely disillusioned, seeks out Mark to vent. In what's almost a therapy session between rivals, he reveals that his parents died and that soccer is the only connection he still has to his father. Mark immediately relates, sharing that he feels the same way about his grandfather, the legendary David Evans. It seems the two have more in common than they thought. To make the atmosphere even more tense, Nellie receives a letter from her father. The warning is clear. Ray Dark, the major villain behind the recent incidents, is the puppet master of this whole story and remains a dangerous threat. Raymond's next opponent is Farm Junior High, famous for an impenetrable defense that hasn't conceded a single goal. And to make matters worse, Raymond's practice is a disaster. The players have gotten so good individually that they can no longer play as a team, messing up combination plays like the Dragon Tornado. It's like a band where every musician decided to play a different song at the same time. Driven by a desire for revenge against Zeus, Jude makes the most unexpected decision possible. He transfers to Raymond, and without wasting any time, he puts on the uniform and steps onto the field, ready to test Farm's so-called wall. The moment he steps on the field, Jude Sharp starts calling the shots. He acts like a true strategist, shouting orders, adjusting everyone's positioning, and correcting the timing of their passes. In just a few minutes, Raymond's coordination, which had been a mess, is back to running like a well-oiled machine. But Farm Junior High didn't earn its reputation for nothing. Even with Jude's help, they managed to score the first goal using their defensive tactic, the infinite wall. This formation is so powerful that it blocks every single one of Raymond's attacks, including the famous Inazuma drop, which just bounces off the defense like it hit a concrete wall. During halftime, Jude suggests a plan to break the wall, isolate Kevin to force the defense to open up. It's a good idea on paper, but in practice, it fails miserably. The infinite wall seems indestructible. When all seems lost, Mark takes the lead. He gathers the team and gives a fiery speech, reminding everyone of the Raymond spirit, the refusal to give up no matter how tough the situation gets. This boost of morale changes everything. Inspired by their captain's words, they do the impossible. They create a brand new special technique right there in the heat of the moment. Combining their strengths, they execute the Inazuma break, a triple shot that turns into a meteor of energy and finally shatters the infinite wall, tying the game. To seal the comeback, Kevin uses the Dragon Crash and scores the winning goal for a 2-1 victory. After the game, an impressed Jude admits that Raymond's resilience and Mark's leadership have made him rethink his own beliefs. And just when it seemed like they could finally catch their breath, Eric Eagle shows up at the training field and challenges Mark to a duel. Mark, unfazed, blocks it with his classic God Hand in a save that left everyone stunned. And then comes the bombshell. The guy reveals he survived the accident everyone thought was fatal. He's like a soap opera character who comes back from the dead to shake up the plot. Eric explains that he was recovering in secret, all because of a promise he made to Bobby and Sylvia to play soccer with them again. Driven by this mission, he simply cancels his flight back to the United States and asks to join the Raymond team. The guy is determined to make a comeback.
You want to join the Raymond team?
Yep, if that's okay.
You bet it's okay. It's more than okay.
At that very moment, to make the atmosphere even more tense, the team finds out their next opponent in the semifinals is none other than Kirkwood Junior High, Axel's former team. The drama is officially set, and Axel's past is coming back to haunt him. The Murdoch brothers, a set of sinister triplets from Kirkwood Junior High, corner Axel in a candy shop, creating a tense scene. They get aggressive, accusing Axel of abandoning the team in the national final and throwing everyone's dream in the trash. Basically, they called him a traitor to his face. Mark, who doesn't back down from a fight, steps in and challenges the guys to test their strength against his God Hand. It's the classic say it to my face move. The Murdoch's response? A new, overpowered shot called the Triangle Z, a powerful technique that leaves Mark completely stunned. It's already clear that the level of the next game is going to be different. Cut to the semi-final match, and Kirkwood comes out swinging, dominating from the start. They score the first goal with an upgraded back tornado, showing they aren't messing around. With the score against them, Raymond is on the ropes, ropes, desperately needing a way to stop the Triangle Z and turn this game around. Mark is pulling out all the stops with the God Hand, making some incredible saves, but the Murdoch brothers give him no rest. They unleash the Triangle Z again and manage to break through Raymond's defense, extending their lead. The situation is critical. With their backs against the wall, the Raymond team finally manages to execute the Tri-Pegasus on the field, a spectacular play that ties the game and gives the team a glimmer of hope. But Kirkwood responds in kind, launching another Triangle Z at them. This time, however, Mark isn't alone. With the help of his teammates, he combines everyone's strength and manages to stop the shot in a scene worthy of a movie. In the decisive play, Axel leads the counterattack, distracting the Murdochs, while Mark, along with Eric and Bobby, unleashes the Phoenix, an incredible evolution of the Tri-Pegasus, scoring the winning goal. After 40 years, Raymond finally qualifies for the final, where they will face the almighty Zeus Junior High. Things are about to get serious. Mark is in a major crisis of confidence. His famous God Hand, which used to stop everything and everyone, has become like an outdated antivirus against the power of Zeus Junior High. He realizes he needs a serious upgrade, and fast. The solution? To dive headfirst into his grandfather's notebook, which is basically a playbook of secret techniques. There, he discovers the evolution of his move, the Imagine the Hand. It's the update patch he desperately needed. While Mark is in this intense study mode, the rest of the team watches on, worried about their captain, who seems to be carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. At the same time, Nellie gets a grim warning from her father in the hospital about Ray Dark. It's basically a heads up. Watch out, this guy doesn't play fair. Back on the field, training for the new technique is a total failure. He tries everything to master the Imagine the Hand. Breathing exercises, strange stances, practically goalie yoga, but nothing works. The mood on the team is so heavy that not even the Onigiri, Nellie, and Sylvia prepare to cheer everyone up can lift the tension. A light at the end of the tunnel comes from the most unexpected place: Mark's mother. She reveals a crucial tip his grandfather left in his notes. The secret is to keep a low center of gravity. A simple piece of advice, but one that could change everything. Meanwhile, Ray Dark pays a visit to Mark's coach's restaurant just to provoke him, hinting that he's got Zeus Junior High in the palm of his hand. To rub salt in the wound, Byron Love shows up at Raymond's field. He marks the team's training, calls everyone pathetic, and knocks Mark out. The power gap is glaring, making it clear that this is a battle between mere mortals and gods. With time running out, the coach takes a drastic measure and announces an emergency training camp. Things just got serious. The emergency training camp begins, and the whole team gathers at the school. Mark, still in his solo hero vibe, wants to train for the Imagine the Hand alone, but the coach shuts that down immediately and orders everyone to help. Teamwork is the key after all. At night, the atmosphere gets tense with ghostly noises, but the plot twist is that the scares are being caused by the founding members of the original Inazuma 11, Arthur, Builder, and Garrett. The veterans have arrived to lend a hand. They don't come empty-handed either. They present a bizarre training machine designed to strengthen the abs and legs, essential for the Imagine the Hand. Mark faces the device, which looks more like a torture machine and takes a real beating at first, but with the entire team cheering him on, he finds his strength. In a monumental effort, he nearly executes the technique, but it fails at the last second.
Where is this power coming from? I can feel my body burning.
Seeing desperation set in, Sylvia comes up with a bold plan B. If you can't defend, then attack with everything you've got. The new strategy is to simply outscore Zeus, no matter what the scoreboard says. But when the day of the final arrives, there's another surprise. The match location has been changed to a gigantic, imposing, and mysterious structure that looks like it came straight out of a villain's lair. To make matters worse, Hillman confesses that Ray Dark was involved in the death of Mark's grandfather and in the accident that injured Axel's sister. It's the kind of revelation that would make anyone snap, and Mark spirals into a deep crisis. For a moment, he almost throws in the towel, but his love for soccer wins out. He gathers the team and tells them the truth. They're not playing for revenge, but for the passion of the sport. What a speech. Raymond takes the field with their hearts on their sleeves, but the Zeus Junior High team looks like they've chugged an energy drink from another planet. The players' speed is superhuman. Their captain, Byron Love, scores 3 goals before Raymond can even touch the ball.
Do you know what happens when an angel flaps its wings? Gods can do anything!
It's a total beatdown. To complete the disaster, Timmy and Kevin are taken off the field with injuries, leaving the team patched together. Mark is feeling the pressure and starts to falter, but then Nathan and the rest of the team rally to boost their captain's morale, reminding him of his own words about never giving up. It's a classic case of using his own spell against him, but for good. During halftime, the gossip mill churns, and they uncover Zeus's dirty secret. The players are using something called God's Aqua, which is actually an illegal performance-enhancing drink to make them super strong. Basically blatant doping. With the team motivated and the cheating revealed, the second half begins, and that's when Mark shines. He finally executes the Majin the Hand perfectly and blocks the God-knows shot, which seemed unstoppable. This epic save ignites Raymond, who go on an all-out offensive and pull off a spectacular comeback, tying the game with 3 goals. In stoppage time, during one last desperate attack, Raymond scores the winning goal and is crowned champion. Justice is swiftly served. Ray Dark is arrested for doping his players, and this time bail is off the table. The team celebrates, but the joy is short-lived. Raymond Junior High is in ruins, looking like a disaster movie set. There they find the veterans of the legendary Inazuma 11, all defeated. They explain what happened. Aliens from Alias Academy, a team called Gemini Storm, are traveling around, challenging the best schools to a soccer match and simply destroying those that lose. It's like an intergalactic tournament where second place gets turned to dust. The aliens' next stop is Umbrella Junior High, and they've already announced their plans to demolish it. Without a second thought, Raymond offers to defend the school and prevent its destruction. The match begins, and the power difference is absurd. The alien speed is relentless. A shot nearly takes Mark out, and Nathan is wounded within seconds. Things are looking grim, even with the team at a disadvantage and taking a beating. Axel enters the field to light a fire under the game. Mark, despite getting hit more than a punching bag, refuses to back down and leads a counterattack on pure grit, determined to show these invaders that Earth soccer is no joke. Unfortunately, they're no match for the aliens. The team is in complete shock. Mark wakes up in his room, a photo of his grandfather by his side, while the TV plays breaking news about alien attacks at several schools. Nellie drops by to visit, but Mark, stubborn as ever, only wants to see his friends at the hospital. When he arrives, the mood is heavy. Timmy and the others are blaming themselves, feeling too weak to face the aliens. But Mark, in true team captain fashion, lifts everyone's spirits, telling them to focus on their recovery. Then comes the game changer. Mr. Raymond takes the team to a secret base, the Inazuma Caravan, which is basically a high-tech bus. He reveals the plan, to assemble the strongest team on the planet to kick Alias Academy's butt back to space. To do this, a new coach arrives, Lena, who immediately makes it clear she's not messing around and imposes a strict regimen. Meanwhile, Axel is seen talking to some suspicious figures connected to the aliens, raising some serious red flags. To make matters worse, the aliens abduct the Prime Minister in the middle of a ceremony.
Who are you people?
With no time to waste, the team boards the Inazuma Caravan and heads for a showdown at Sheikah Park. The team arrives at Sheikah Park ready for action, but their first welcome is the most random one possible. The Prime Minister's bodyguard mistakes them for the aliens themselves. To prove they're human, they have to do what they do best, play soccer. But the game is improvised, and with one player short, they have to rely on short passes and hold their ground on defense against their opponent's brute force. During halftime, Coach Lena shocks everyone with a crazy strategy. She pulls the injured players and leaves the team with only 7 on the field. It seems like suicide, but the tactic works. The game's pace quickens, and the opposing defense is left wide open. Things get tense, and Mark is forced to make a tough save against a powerful shot using his special technique, Majin the Hand. In the final moments, Axel's star power shines through, and he scores the winning goal with his classic fire tornado. After the match, the truth comes out. The bodyguard was actually testing their skills at the request of Tori, the Prime Minister's daughter. She's no damsel in distress. She joins the team herself, vowing to help rescue her father. To cap it all off, Alias Academy sends a message on national television, challenging the team and revealing their location, Nara television station. The invitation to brawl has been sent. It's time for the rematch against Alias Academy, but what was supposed to be a chance to settle the score turns into a massacre. The aliens use superhuman speed and steamroll the team, ending the first half with a humiliating 13-0 score. Jude Sharp, the team's strategist, manages to decipher their gameplay pattern, but Coach Lena decides to bet on a kamikaze tactic. Everyone on offense, leaving only Mark in the goal. The result? An even bigger disaster. Alias Academy takes advantage of the open goal and increases the score to 32-0. Mark becomes a human punching bag, blocking shot after shot.
That's it, it's over!
He's out cold. Mark!
The entire team starts to question the coach's sanity, but Mark himself defends her. He reveals that taking so many hits served as intensive training to understand the alien's technique. Basically, he used his own face to gather data. When the dust settles, Lena drops a bombshell. Axel is expelled from the team. According to her, the forward no longer fits into her plans. Even with everyone protesting, Axel accepts the decision and leaves. To try and lift their spirits, a rumor surfaces about a legendary striker from Hokkaido named Sean, and the team decides to track him down. In true adventure movie fashion, they set off for the land of ice. During their journey, they run into a random kid who, plot twist, is Sean himself. And to test the newcomer's composure, a bear decides to show up. While everyone else panics, Sean remains calmer than a snowman, handling the situation as if it were nothing. Amid all this, Tori reunites with her father, who has been rescued safe and sound. But instead of a joyful family reunion, she decides that her mission against the Alias Academy is more important, and moves forward with the team. The team then sets up camp in Hokkaido, preparing for whatever comes next and trying to figure out just who this Sean guy really is. The team decides to stalk Sean and heads to Alpine Junior High to see him in action. In a friendly match, Sean starts on defense, looking like just another player, but suddenly, he flips a switch, activates his striker mode, and transforms into a goal-scoring machine. He unleashes a shot so insane that not even Mark's god hand can stop it. It's a goal. Kevin, still mourning Axel's departure, is furious and refuses to accept the newcomer on the team. To him, it's like trading your favorite player in a video game for a character you don't even know. But Mark gives him a dose of reality and convinces him to swallow his pride. After all the drama, Sean is officially part of the Inazuma caravan, but the peace doesn't last long. Alias Academy, who loves to crash the party, sends a direct message to Alpine Junior High, letting them know they're next on the hit list. The game is about to begin. Sean's arrival shakes things up. In training, he plays his own game in full lone wolf style, which creates tension, especially with Kevin.
Or am I just a billion times faster than you?
This guy's off the charts.
To try and keep up with their new teammates' absurd speed, the team comes up with a crazy idea to train by snowboarding on an ice rink. The logic? If they can balance on a board, they can be more agile on the field. Kevin, who was just complaining at first, decides to take the training seriously and dedicates himself to not being left behind. It's almost like a Rocky Balboa training montage, but on snow. And it actually works. The team's effort pays off, and they show some serious improvement, moving with much greater agility. But, as good things never last, the peace is shattered. Gemini Storm shows up at Alpine Junior High with major swagger, like movie bullies, challenging the team to prove they've got game. To everyone's surprise, Coach Lena puts Sean on defense. The team is skeptical, but she had an ace up her sleeve to contain the aliens' offense. The first half is tense, and in the final seconds, Gemini Storm scores with Astro Break. It looked like it was all over, but during halftime, the coach turns the tables again and moves Sean up to the front as a forward. The strategy was a true game of chess. In the second half, Raymond comes back with a vengeance. Out of nowhere, Eric Eagle unleashes a brand new move called Flame Dance, stealing the ball from his opponent and leaving everyone absolutely stunned. To put the nail in the coffin, Sean lands a perfect Eternal Blizzard, securing a hard-fought victory for Alpine. After the final whistle, once the dust settles, Gemini Storm drops a bombshell. They are only the second-ranked team of Alias Academy, basically the B team. The real terror, the top-tier team called Epsilon, is already on its way to Kyoto. The trouble is just getting started. With the warning that Epsilon was on its way, Raymond 11 takes the first bus to Kyoto, straight to a school called Cloister Divinity. There, they meet Scott, a rebellious player who was isolated from the main team. The kid is full of childhood trauma and doesn't trust anyone. The home team, meanwhile, is in a zen-like vibe, thinking they can resolve the alien invasion through peaceful dialogue. Spoiler alert, they can't. Epsilon arrives unannounced and completely steamrolls the team in 6 minutes. It was a massacre. In the middle of the chaos, the captain, Willie, gets badly injured. Seeing the team a man down, Celia Hills has a crazy idea: convince the coach to play Scott, the problem child. Meanwhile, Mark finds out that Ray Dark, that villain from the old days, is involved with the aliens and goes off to interrogate them alone. Without a second thought, pressured by Celia and without many options, Scott ends up agreeing to take the field, even though he thinks he's a total nobody and won't be of any help. Scott finally makes his debut as a defender against Epsilon, who arrives full of themselves, promising to win the match in exactly 3 minutes. The team's arrogance is literally out of this world, and they start by showing what they're made of, dominating the game with brute force. Their defense is so insane it even blocks Sean's Eternal Blizzard, and to make matters worse, they score the first goal with a technique called Ganymede Ray. But then something bizarre happens. When the clock hits the 3-minute mark, Epsilon simply stops attacking and falls back. This happens right after a shot that Scott deflects on pure instinct, almost by accident. The whole team praises his save, but he remains defensive with his cynical attitude and reveals that he was abandoned by his parents. The mood gets heavy. Meanwhile, Mark meets a mysterious kid named Xavier Hunter, who was just watching the game. He exchanges a few quick passes with Mark and then vanishes into thin air, like a ghost. To close out the episode, Epsilon announces they'll be back in 10 days to finish the job, and the Cloister Divinity coach says the humiliating defeat was part of their spiritual training. Go figure. Scott just got here and he's already trying to be the center of attention. The guy is incredibly selfish, and the others, like Willie and Todd, don't like him one bit. His reception is colder than an ex's heart. In the middle of their journey, Nellie's phone rings with bombshell news. Ray Dark, the villain everyone thought was out of the picture, has escaped. And that's not all. He's putting together a 2.0 version of the Royal Academy called Royal Academy Redux, basically an evil remix. Without a second thought, the team decides they need to stop this show before it even begins. They arrive at the location and come face to face with Caleb, who acts like an evil tour guide and leads them to a secret base in the middle of the sea, a true spy movie villain's lair. Inside, a surprise awaits. Ray Dark is with 2 of Jude's former teammates. Apparently, the guys never got over their loss to Zeus, and driven by sheer bitterness, they've joined the dark side. Jude tries to bring his friends back, but they're not listening. They're blinded by hatred and vow to use a secret weapon to destroy Raymond. The tension rises, the teams face off, and the match that will decide everything is about to begin. The game begins, and Royal Academy Redux immediately shows they're not messing around. They score the first goal using a banned technique called Emperor Penguin #1, a shot so outrageous it injures anyone who uses it. Mark, as always, dives in front of the ball, but this time he misses the save and ends up getting hurt. The Raymond team figures it out. These forbidden techniques like Emperor Penguin and Beast Fang are like using a cheat code that also deals damage to you. They destroy the user's body. In a noble move, they try to protect their opponents by preventing David Samford from getting the ball, but this ends up crippling their own offense. Jude lays it on the line. They need to play at full strength. In his mind, the only way to wake up his former teammates is by scoring on them. In the second half, Sean uses his brother's technique Eternal Blizzard and manages to score without triggering the opponent's insane defense. Desperate, David resorts to using Emperor Penguin again. Mark makes a heroic save, but the impact is so strong he's nearly knocked out. David collapses on the field, and Ray Dark proves he's the world's worst boss. He fires the kid on the spot, calling him a failure, and escapes in a submarine. Jude swears he'll catch him, and the game ends in a draw, but with the bitter taste of defeat. Back at their base, the Raymond team barely has time to breathe before they have to prepare for the next threat, an alien team called Epsilon. Yep, things have gone intergalactic. To give the team a boost, Shadow, a former player from the sinister brainwashing junior high, joins them, focused on mastering some super powerful shots.
Dark Tornado!
Meanwhile, Scott finally opens up. He reveals that all his selfishness stemmed from childhood abandonment trauma. With the help of Mark, who's not just the captain but also the team's therapist, he overcomes his mental block and masters the World Wind Force technique. But it's not all good news. Kevin has been hiding a serious leg injury. Coach Lena, acting like a protective mother, removes him from the team to prevent it from getting worse and promotes Sean to the new main striker. After some intense training in an underground facility, which looked more like preparation to become Batman, the team receives a new mission: to act as spies and investigate the Alias Academy base in Osaka. As they head to the city, Mark reflects that, amidst all the chaos, the most important thing is to never forget to have fun playing soccer. After tracking Alias Academy, the team arrives at the most suspicious place for an enemy base, an amusement park in Osaka. The atmosphere is festive, but the team is in full detective mode. In the middle of the investigation, Sean, always the odd one out, sees something and simply disappears without a word. The rest of the team splits up to look for clues, but only finds cotton candy and roller coasters. The mission takes a bizarre turn when Eric is mistaken for the boyfriend of Sue, the owner of an okonomiyaki stand. Before he can explain, he's already seated and being forced to eat. To rescue their kidnapped friend, the team has to accept a challenge, a soccer match against Sue and her friends, the Triple C. If Raymond wins, they get Eric back. The game starts, and the girls from the food stall aren't messing around. They play incredibly well and score the first goal, leaving everyone jaw-dropped. In the second half, Raymond manages to recover. With a powerful shot from Eric, they tie the game and then take the lead, securing the victory and their teammates' freedom. After the match, Sue reveals the big plot twist. Underneath the amusement park, there's a secret, super advanced training facility. The team is left wondering, how does the okonomiyaki girl have a soccer bat cave? The team discovers that the underground training center is more high-tech than the X-Men's danger room. Sue explains that she and her friends found the place by accident and used it to become amazing players. The facility's highlight is a training machine with difficulty levels ranging from friendly to impossible, challenging any player to either evolve or end up in the hospital. Seeing its potential, the team decides to stay and train hard for the 3 days remaining before their showdown with Epsilon. While most of the team trains together, Sean isolates himself, obsessed with perfecting his shot, the Eternal Blizzard, which had been blocked the last time. He trains alone at night while the others are already on the brink of exhaustion. During a moment of calm, Sylvia and Mark have a chat about their passion for soccer, and Mark concludes that even the aliens must feel the joy of kicking a ball. The peace doesn't last. The next day, Epsilon appears out of nowhere, instantly transforms the area into a soccer field, and announces the game that will decide the fate of the Earth is happening now. The whistle blows, and the game against Epsilon starts on fire, with both teams on equal footing. Raymond's defense, now powered up, manages to neutralize absurd attacks like Meteor Shower, proving the training at the park paid off. The first half is an intense battle, but neither side can break through the other's defense, and the score remains 0-0. In the second half, the coach decides to make a bold or maybe crazy move. She puts Sean, the team's star striker, on defense. The tension on the team is immediate. The strategy seems to backfire when Epsilon scores the first goal with Gaia break. All the pressure falls on Sean, who ignores the coach's orders and goes on the attack. After some internal conflict, he finally lands the Eternal Blizzard and ties the game. Epsilon responds with a brutal assault, but Mark makes a miraculous save with a brand new move. The battle of goalies continues as Devilan from Epsilon blocks another of Sean's shots with his drill smasher. With time almost up, Epsilon simply withdraws, declaring a draw. Shortly after their departure, the team receives a clue. Another one of Mark's grandfather's secret notebooks, containing techniques to master the God Hand, is hidden in Fukuoka. The Raymond crew arrives at Fosshore Junior High, and Mark immediately runs into his uncle, who was his grandfather David Evans's best friend. And as in any good anime, a mystical item is handed over, an old notebook from Mark's grandfather. Inside are unfinished secret techniques with epic names like The Ultimate Secret and Fist of Justice. It's basically the Dragon Scroll from Kung Fu Panda, but for goalkeepers. There, Mark meets Darren, a local goalie who is basically his #1 fan. The kid learned to use the God Hand just by watching Mark's videos online. It's like a YouTube tutorial that actually worked out incredibly well. To test their skills, they have a friendly match. Mark, all hyped up about the new notebook, tries to use the Fist of Justice, but fails miserably. Meanwhile, Darren, the fan, is over there blocking everything with the God Hand he taught himself, leaving everyone speechless. It's one of those, the student has surpassed the master moments, without even having a master. And to top it all off, who shows up mid-game? The mysterious Xavier himself, with an air of, I'm the real main character. The friendly match continues, and Mark is still on his personal quest to make the Fist of Justice work, but it's a no-go. It's one failure after another. Luckily for him, the team has his back, holding the line on defense like a solid wall. The power of friendship on the field, right? On the other side, Darren, thrilled by the success, tries to unleash Maj in the Hand. But just like Mark, he can't pull it off on the first try either. It seems like creating new moves isn't for everyone. While the goalies are in their technique lab, Raymond Jr. decides to play for real. They completely steamroll the opposing team with a shower of goals. They pull off Twin Boost and the Phoenix, and the final score is a decisive 4-0, a total blowout. After the game, there's a moment of respect. Mark, instead of getting upset, decides to teach his training methods to Darren, and the two practice together. A super wholesome scene of rivalry and friendship. But the peace is short-lived. Suddenly, Xavier reappears, and this time, he's not alone. He brings his full team, Genesis. And then comes the bombshell. He reveals that he's an alien. Things just escalated from a school tournament to Men in Black. And to make matters worse, he doesn't want to wait until tomorrow. The challenge is for right now. The match against Genesis kicks off, and things get ugly fast. Xavier is on a whole other level, like a video game character on ultra hard mode. He unleashes shots that tear right through Mark's Maj in the Hand as if it were paper. Each goal is a crushing blow to the team's morale. Meanwhile, Sean is fighting a heavy internal battle. We discover he has a dual personality, a mental struggle between himself and his late twin brother Aiden. The pressure of the match is throwing his mind into chaos, and he can barely stay on his feet. Raymond is taking a historic beatdown. It's one attack after another, and they can't do a single thing to stop it. The situation becomes so critical that Sean, completely drained by the physical and mental battle, collapses in the middle of the field. That's when the coach reveals the tragic story. A past accident claimed Aiden's life, and the trauma caused Sean to develop this second personality, which only emerges in moments of extreme pressure. To top off the total disaster, Nathan, one of the team's key players, throws in the towel. Completely demoralized and feeling powerless, he announces he's quitting the team, claiming he doesn't have the strength to go on. It's rock bottom for Raymond. Nathan just bolts in the middle of the night, abandoning the team and leaving everyone shaken. The coach doesn't even flinch and gets straight to the point. If a player isn't willing to stand up to Alias Academy, they don't belong on the team. This sends Mark into a full-blown existential crisis, blaming himself for not noticing the suffering of Nathan and Sean. He gets so down that he isolates himself on the school roof and starts fasting, like a depressed monk. With the captain out of commission, the team is a mess. Sean is unstable, and the entire squad is falling apart. Jude tries to take control, but then the coach makes a Game of Thrones level decision. She sacks Mark and appoints Jude as the new captain. Apparently, the plan is to move on without Mark, but while the drama unfolds, Darren stays focused, training relentlessly until he finally masters the Maj in the Hand technique. His persistence is the reality check Mark needed. Seeing that, Mark climbs down from the roof, apologizes to everyone, and invites Darren to join the team. With Sean recovered and the team united once more, they get a hot tip. The so-called Flame Striker has been spotted in Okinawa. Without a second thought, the team heads out. The team lands in Okinawa with a single mission: to find the Flame Striker, who they're sure is Axel. But they barely arrived when Willie stars in a near-drowning incident, only to be saved by a local surfer named Hurley Kame. As if that weren't enough, they get stranded on the island until the next day, and decide to use the time to train on the beach. Mark continues his personal journey to master the Fist of Justice, while Tori and Sue team up to develop a brand new technique. Meanwhile, Hurley, the hero of the day, is just chilling, seemingly indifferent to soccer, but a little provocation is all it takes for him to accept the challenge. And then comes the surprise. The surfer, who seemed to want nothing to do with the ball, casually pulls off a tsunami boost with the greatest of ease, leaving everyone's jaws on the floor. After sharing some food and a chat, he reveals he's 15 and lives right there in Okinawa. The team says their goodbyes, now more fired up than ever, with the feeling that finding Axel is just a matter of time. Still in Okinawa, the search for the Flame Striker continues. The team meets Thor Stoutberg, a boy with a superpowered shot who acts as the protector of the local kids. To everyone's surprise, Thor introduces none other than Flame Striker. To prove he's the real deal, he proposes a test. If he can score a goal against the team, he's in, and he does just that. He unleashes Atomic Flare, an incredibly advanced technique, and secures his spot on the team.
Atomic Flare!
It seemed too good to be true, and it was. During the official introduction, Xavier from Alias Academy shows up out of nowhere just to be a party crasher. He exposes the newcomer in front of everyone. The so-called player is actually Torch, the captain of the Prominence team. Caught red-handed, Torch spills the beans, revealing that Alias Academy has multiple teams and drops the bombshell that Axel might be involved with them. The team is completely frustrated, feeling deceived. To try and lift everyone's spirits, Thor shows up with some vegetables for the group. Hurley Tane, the cool surfer dude, invites Raymond for a friendly match in Okinawa against his new team, but the coach thinks Raymond is inferior and cancels the match, treating them like a second-rate team. After much insistence from the team, she finally gives the go-ahead. The team then catches the first flight to Okinawa and arrives at Hurley's school, Mary Times Memorial, which looks more like a 5-star resort. There, they meet the Party Animals, a team that looks like they walked straight out of a beach party, and their coach, who's more eccentric than Willy Wonka. The game starts, and Raymond is in for a shock. The opposing team plays to the rhythm of music. Their captain, Cadence Soundtown, acts like a DJ on the field, giving musical commands that allow his entire team to predict Raymond's every move. It's like trying to play soccer against the cast of High School Musical. They're always one step ahead and with choreography. Raymond struggles to figure out what's going on, but after racking their brains, they finally adapt to the beat. Sue and Tori, showing they can dance too, unleash the butterfly trance and send the ball straight into the goal. The first half ends with Raymond in the lead, winning 1-0 and proving they know how to crash a party. After their hard-fought victory against the Okinawa dancers, Mark and Hurley Kane decide there's no time to rest. They head to the beach, but not to catch some sun. The plan is to train seriously. Mark is obsessed with mastering a new technique, Fist of Justice, and Hurley, the master of the waves, becomes his mentor. Meanwhile, Darren, realizing he needs to be more useful, decides to switch roles and starts training as a midfielder to give the team a boost. On the beach, the scene is comical. Mark, the superstar goalkeeper, is making a complete fool of himself trying to surf. He wipes out again and again, proving his balance only works under the goalposts. But like any good anime protagonist, he doesn't give up. Hurley gives him a few tips, and Mark keeps trying until, right in the middle of a perfect wave, he finally manages to keep his balance. The celebration is short-lived. Out of nowhere, while they're still celebrating, the Epsilon team appears on the beach like party crashers, except they're not the same team. They reveal they've evolved and lay down the law. Either Raymond accepts their challenge, or they'll start destroying schools across the country. With a threat like that, there's no refusing. The match begins, and it's a slaughter. Epsilon completely dominates, showing that the prime in their name isn't just for show. But Mark, with his newly acquired beach technique, manages to stop Gungnir using Fist of Justice. It's a small moment of glory in the midst of chaos. But Raymond has another problem. Sean is completely bugged out. The guy's having an identity crisis, unsure if he's a forward or a defender. He misses every crucial shot and ends up being substituted, a humiliation for a player of his caliber. From that point on, the game becomes a siege. Raymond is purely on the defensive, trying to survive Epsilon's onslaught. And just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, a plot twist hits. Devalen, Epsilon's keeper, simply abandons the goal, swaps places with Zell, and becomes a forward. In a bizarre play, he moves up the field and unleashes a shot so powerful it shatters Mark's Fist of Justice. The technique he just learned is already toast. Raymond is now at a disadvantage, with their keeper shaken and their best defense in pieces. Mark is crushed by the failure, even calling out to his grandfather's spirit for answers. He's hit hard. Although the team vows to fight with renewed determination, Epsilon Prime's attacks are relentless and simply overwhelm Raymond. But in the middle of the game, a turning point. Axel is back. He reveals that his sister Julia was being held hostage by Alias Academy, which is why he disappeared. Now free, Axel wastes no time and unleashes a completely revamped fire tornado, which slices through Zell's defense like smoke and scores a spectacular goal. To cap it all off, he teams up with Mark in the two debut a new technique, Fireball Storm, which shatters Devalin's Drill Smasher and secures Raymond's victory. Epsilon Prime departs, but the piece is short-lived. Out of nowhere, Diamond Dust appears, issuing a sinister challenge to Mark and promising to bring a freezing darkness. The message has been sent, and the next challenge already looks like it's going to be ice cold. The threat of Diamond Dust looms as Axel officially rejoins Raymond 11. Detective Smith explains the whole mess. Alias Academy used Julia as a hostage, forcing Axel to play for them. During that time, Thor hid Axel while the police rescued the girl. Case closed. Back at practice, Axel's power impresses everyone but also creates a problem. Sean is terrified by the force of his shots. Coach Lena, however, decides to keep Sean on the team, believing the squad will help him overcome this trauma. During a break, Thor shows up with some drinks. praise and gives Axel some encouragement. But the peaceful moment ends when Diamond Dust sends a threatening message. Either Raymond shows up at the stadium for a match, or they will destroy all of Tokyo. Without hesitation, the team rushes over. Diamond Dust materializes, declaring themselves the master-ranked team of Alias Academy. The game begins and they display supernatural speed and freezing techniques like frozen steel, which leaves Raymond's defense completely lost. Just when all seems lost, Byron Love, the captain of Zeus Jr., appears out of nowhere, offering his help. Byron joins the Raymond 11 in a quest for redemption. Diamond Dust mocks him, but Byron shuts them up with a powerful God Knows, still enhanced by the divine water, scoring the first goal. The response comes swiftly. Gazelle, Diamond Dust's captain, uses a brutal northern impact that shatters Mark's fist of justice and ties the game.
Northern Impact!
In the second half, Diamond Dust's ice attacks become even more intense. Mark's incomplete defense fails again against Northern Impact, and he ends up fracturing his fingers. Ouch, but Raymond doesn't give up. Axel and Byron combine their strengths, and Axel manages to score, getting past the keeper Beluga. With time almost up, Diamond Dust launches one last desperate attack. Mark is completely out of position, but he throws himself into a heroic header and saves the ball, securing a draw. Gazelle acknowledges Mark's strength and vows to return. Byron is officially integrated into the team, but then Coach Lena drops a bombshell. She tells Mark he has to give up his position as goalkeeper, leaving the entire team in a state of shock. But Jude, the team's strategist, lays it all out. Every time Mark leaves the goal to use his overpowered moves, he leaves it wide open. The defense becomes completely vulnerable. The solution? Turn Mark into a defender. That way, he can still contribute to the offense without leaving the team exposed. For the good of the team, Mark accepts the challenge. Darren, the substitute, takes over the gloves and is completely overwhelmed by the responsibility. To help, Mark gives him his grandfather's notebook with the Mugen the hand technique, but the instructions are harder to decipher than a doctor's prescription. Meanwhile, Mark is struggling to adapt to his new position. His goalkeeper instincts are so strong that he keeps using his hands, which is obviously not allowed. To push himself to adapt, he even starts training with tires strapped to his arms, forcing himself to use his head instead of his hands. Darren keeps trying to master Mugen the hand, and figures out the secret isn't to see the ball, but to listen with his heart to predict the shots. Very poetic. To top it all off, the alien team Genesis simply discards Diamond Dust after their draw with Raymond, and a new threat is already knocking at the door. Raymond is training at Royal Academy with a total focus on mastering a technique called Death Zone. Jude, Bobby, and Mark are sweating it out to make the move work, while Darren remains frustrated, unable to grasp the so-called Mugen the hand. During practice, Jude, always the brains of the operation, notices a problem. The timing of the technique doesn't match Raymond's playstyle. It's like trying to fit a Lego piece into a jigsaw puzzle. To test it in a real match, they schedule a friendly against Jude's old team, and in a stroke of genius, Mark decides to play for the opposing team to understand the technique from a different perspective. In the game, the trio fails miserably several times. Their synchronization is terrible. But then, an old teammate of Jude's, David, offers some moral support, saying that his move to Raymond was the best thing that ever happened. This gives Jude an epiphany. He doesn't have to copy the technique, he has to adapt it to Raymond's unique style. In a final attempt, they go for it and execute Death Zone 2, a souped-up version perfect for the team. The team celebrates like they've won the World Cup, but the party is cut short. Torch and Gazelle, the leaders of the Fire and Ice teams, appear out of nowhere. They announce that their teams have merged, like a Dragon Ball fusion, and now they want a final showdown. Raymond is in hardcore training mode to face the fusion of Prominence and Diamond Dust. Sean, on the other hand, is completely isolated, fighting an internal battle with his alter ego, Aiden, and feeling useless. In training, Darren gets close to mastering the technique but fails at the last second. It's the kind of almost that hurts your soul. Match day arrives and the combined team looks like they're from another planet. They are absurdly strong and completely dominate the field. Poor Darren, in goal, becomes an easy target. He gets bombarded from all sides with shots like Northern Impact and Atomic Flare, and the score becomes a massacre. 10 goals conceded. But not all is lost. Mark, now a defender, shows what he's made of and creates a new technique on the spot. Megaton Head, deflecting an impossible attack and saving the team's honor. The first half ends with Raymond on the ropes, but Mark refuses to give up and is determined to turn the game around. But then Jude, the team's mastermind, figures out their play. Their weak spot is the Eagle of Heath from Prominence, which is bigger than the entire stadium. In the second half, the strategy is clear. Put pressure on Heath Heath to break their rhythm, and it actually works. To help, Darren, our goalkeeper, decides to step up and unleashes a new technique, the Mugen the Hand, to block a seemingly impossible shot. With this morale boost, Raymond kicks into high gear and scores 4 goals in a row, lessening the humiliation. The aliens try to fight back, but the team finds its footing. Then Byron tries to be the hero and break through their steel-like defense, ignites steel and frozen steel, but gets badly injured in the process. And when the dust settles, Xavier appears out of nowhere, just to drop the bombshell of the century. Lena is his sister. The entire team is in shock, like a soap opera finale, right on the eve of the decisive match. After that bombshell revelation, the team confronts Lena, demanding answers. She doesn't beat around the bush and offers to take them all to the alien base on Mount Fuji to show them the truth. The team is divided. Some, like Eric, think it's a trap and back out, but Mark and the majority decide they need to see it with their own eyes. Meanwhile, a group therapy session breaks out. Sean opens up about his emotional dependency on Aiden since the trauma, but Axel gives him a reality check, telling him he needs to find his own strength and stop leaning on a ghost.
You can practice on your own. You'll never find the perfection you seek. You're chasing an illusion.
To add fuel to the fire, Xavier shows up again, introducing himself as Zine from Team Genesis, and immediately challenges Raymond, making it clear that the next level will be even tougher. The next day, most of the team gathers and sets off on the mission. They arrive to find a secret base that looks like a B-movie flying saucer, ready to finally unravel the mystery of Alias Academy. As soon as they set foot in the base, Coach Seymour Hillman points a finger at Lena, accusing her of being the mastermind behind Alias Academy, and she confirms everything. She reveals the place is a secret weapons facility created by her father, Ostrom Schiller. Suddenly, security robots attack them, but Raymond proves that teamwork isn't just for soccer and defeats the tin cans. Then, Schiller himself appears to explain his evil plan. The aliens, a complete facade. They're humans who were powered up by a meteorite, the Alias Stone. His goal is to create super soldiers and use soccer to show the world who's in charge. He introduces his main team, Genesis, led by Zine. Lena is devastated, feeling like the worst person in the world, and tries to leave, but Raymond shows they hold no grudges and support her, recognizing how much she dedicated herself to the team. The final match begins, and Genesis immediately displays otherworldly speed, looking like the Flash on the field, but Raymond stands firm, ready to fight for the future of humanity. Genesis kicks things off with a bang, scoring a goal that completely destabilizes the Raymond team. Everyone is left with a look of, wait, what just happened? Seeing the team's shaken state, Coach Lena snaps them out of their funk, reminding them of all their hard training and giving them the classic "I believe in you" speech every coach has up their sleeve. The strategy changes. Sue is subbed out for Sean, who wastes no time. The guy barely steps on the field before unleashing a new technique, Legendary Wolf, tying the game. What a debut! Meanwhile, on a side mission, the detective destroys the device that supposedly gave Genesis their superpowers. But then comes the plot twist. Ostrom reveals that his team no longer needs the Alias Stone. They've evolved naturally, like Pokemon, and are now strong on their own. Genesis remains unfazed and responds with a devastating shot, Supernova. But Raymond, having learned their lesson, counters with a brand new combined defense, holding the line. The game turns into a full-on power struggle. The second half begins with Genesis in the lead 2-1. The tension is thick, especially for Mark, who's fuming over Xavier's taunts about his weak teammates. He wants to lash out, but during halftime, the Raymond team huddles up and decides it's now or never, but they'll do it together. No more going it alone. And this unity pays off. They unleash Death Zone 2 and break through the opponent's defense, tying the game once again. Xavier, seeing things are getting serious, resorts to drastic measures. He simply deactivates his team's power limiters, unleashing their full strength. The result is a goal so absurd, it nearly rips the net. But just when all seems lost, Axel and Sean pull a technique out of their hats, crossfire, and tie the match yet again. In the final minutes, with their hearts pounding, Mark himself, alongside Sean and Axel, scores the winning goal using the earth. After the final whistle, Ostrom goes to apologize, but Bellatrix flips out, lunges at him, and accuses him of treason. The drama just never ends. Bellatrix is a step away from doing something stupid, but the team manages to restrain her before she can hurt Xavier. With the dust settling, it's confession time. Ostrom, genuinely remorseful, reveals his tragic past. His son died in an accident that was covered up, and in the depths of his grief, he discovered the alien stone. From there, he concocted a twisted plan for revenge. Basically, he became a villain with a motive, not just some random madman. In the middle of this super dramatic talk, the entire entire stadium starts to collapse, disaster movie style. The Raymond team scrambles to safety, but not before convincing Ostrom to come with them, ditching his plan of self-destruction. Back in safety, Lima and Xavier bid farewell to Raymond, each going their separate ways. Just when they think they're finally getting a day of peace, surprise! Kevin and other former teammates show up, challenging them to one final battle. Looks like vacation will have to wait, and out of nowhere, who shows up? Nathan, but with an anime villain makeover and holding the alias stone. The blackmail is clear. Either Raymond plays a match against them, or the school gets turned to dust. With little choice, the team accepts the bizarre challenge. On the field, the Dark Emperors look like they've been chugging super soldier serum because their power is off the charts. Nathan uses a technique called Flurry Dash and dodges Jude and Bobby like they're nothing more than traffic cones. Shortly after, Jack is nearly sent to another dimension by a shot from Nathan. Things get ugly when Sean tries to stop Kevin from kicking and gets brutally taken down. The Dark Emperors extend their lead to 2-0 with Wyvern Crash, a bomb that almost tears through the net. The first half ends with the villains in total control, and Raymond is completely on the ropes. The second half begins with Raymond against the wall, needing a miracle, and that miracle has a name: Hurley, the team's newcomer. His teammates start setting him up, a strategy designed to catch the Dark Emperors by surprise, and it works. Hurley grabs the ball, cuts through the defense, and fires off the tsunami boost, but the shot gets blocked. Fortunately, Sean shows up and scores a goal with the legendary Wolf. The joy is short-lived. The Dark Emperors counter with Dark Phoenix, a shot so sinister it looks like it came out of a horror movie, and it ends up injuring the keeper, Darren.
Dark Phoenix!
With the backup goalie on the field, Nathan goes into full villain mode and starts targeting only Mark, hitting the poor guy several times. As he prepares to finish him off with triple boost, a voice cries out, "Soccer is our life!" The phrase acts as a trigger. Mark's God Hand blocks the shot, and the energy causes the alias stone to glow and shatter into 1,000 pieces, like the soul stone being destroyed. The spell is broken, and Nathan and the others return to normal. Raymond celebrates the moral victory, but the party ends with Wiles being arrested. After the whole mess with the Dark Emperors, the team receives bombshell news. They've been invited to the Football Frontier International, basically the Youth Soccer World Cup. While Mark celebrates, we see Sean about to catch a bus back to Hokkaido, when he and Mark share a nostalgic conversation. They reminisce about the entire saga against Alias Academy, the invasion of Gemini Storm, which turned their school into a wasteland, their caravan journey across the country, a road trip to recruit new star players, and the epic moment when Sean's Eternal Blizzard technique finally defeated the aliens. They also talk about the tough times, like Axel and Kevin being forced to leave, and the shocking twist of Xavier being revealed as an enemy. Sean opens his heart about the immense pressure for perfection that nearly destroyed him, and how the team's unity is what saved everyone. The conversation ends with a sense of mission accomplished and eyes on the future. The alien saga is over, but Raymond's journey on the world stage is just beginning. 3 months after the Alias Academy ordeal, the dust has settled and the players have returned home, but their passion for the game remains intact. Mark, our favorite goalie, is just living his life when he bumps into a mysterious girl from his past. The problem? She has no idea who he is, adding a touch of soap opera drama to his routine. But there's no time for drama because he's extremely late for a crucial meeting. When he arrives, he finds out why. Coach Hillman has assembled the cream of the crop of Japanese soccer to form the national team. It's like an Avengers-style call-up, but for soccer. Among those gathered are old allies and new faces, like the reformed Jordan Greenway and the enigmatic Archer Hawkins. Then the coach drops the bomb. There's going to be a high-stakes selection match. 2 teams, one captained by Mark and the other by Jude Sharp, will compete for the coveted 16 spots. The tension rises, personal histories resurface, and the stage is set for a game that will define who represents Japan on the world stage. The selection match kicks off with energy through the roof, as Mark Team A and Jude Sharp's Team B fight tooth and nail for a spot on the national team. The game is a true spectacle, with every player showing exactly why they were scouted. It's a whirlwind of special moves, genius-level strategies, and a will to win that you can feel right through the screen. After a nail-biting showdown that left everyone breathless, Mark's team secures a narrow victory. Phew! With the final whistle, Coach Hillman announces the definitive roster for the Japan national team, which is now given a powerful name, Inazuma Japan. There are 16 players in total, including our heroes Mark, Jude, and Axel, alongside other top-tier talent. The chosen chosen players embrace their destiny, while those who didn't make the cut find solace in the team's promise to carry their dreams forward. And to cap things off, the newly formed Inazuma Japan is introduced to their new coach, Percy Travis. The journey to conquer the world begins now. Get this, Mark wakes up at the training camp and is immediately greeted by Sylvia, who warns him that today's training is going to be intense. He meets up with the squad, including Austin, who arrives late because, believe it or not, he sleeps at home, the only one with that privilege. Then, Coach Travis makes his entrance, dropping 2 bombshells. The first, his daughter Cammy, is the team's new manager. The second, and more shocking, from now on, no one's spot is guaranteed. That's right, everyone, even the starters will have to fight to prove they deserve to be on the field. It's like a soccer reality show, but with no audience vote. During practice, Travis shows he isn't messing around. He lays into Jack for his passive defending and Thor Stoutberg for being a robot who just follows orders. The man wants initiative, not blind obedience. That day, the mood gets tense. Mark discovers that Travis is nicknamed the Cursed Coach because of an incident at his old school that cost them a championship. Meanwhile, Kevin offers a glimmer of hope. He tells Mark that an FFI rule allows player swaps between matches, meaning the door isn't closed for anyone. Feeling the pressure, Jack almost throws in the towel, but Mark, being the great protagonist he is, gives him a pep talk to keep him from quitting. To top it all off, the preliminary round draw reveals their opponent. Japan will face the tournament favorites, Australia. And to leave everyone on edge, Travis forbids any training for the 2 days leading up to the match. What kind of strategy is that? Nathan and the others try to argue, saying they need to prepare and even confronting the coach with the rumors about his past. But Travis is unyielding and threatens to expel anyone who disobeys. The atmosphere turns sour. Frustrated, the players try to find something to do. Archer Hawkins isolates himself like a lone wolf. Jude, Mark, and Axel decide to train secretly in their room, totally in stealth mode. Meanwhile, Cammy, who is the coach's daughter but on the team's side, plays detective and uncovers Australia's secret tactic, the box-lock defense, a formation that essentially traps opponents in a box. In the midst of all this, Austin gets permission to leave, and Mark realizes that Coach Travis is watching everyone, Big Brother style. Things get more personal for Archer when he's confronted by some old friends who want him to quit soccer. He refuses, declaring that the sport is his life now, casting his old allegiances aside. Finally, game day arrives. The stadium is packed, and the pressure is immense. Travis announces the lineup with Mark as captain, and the referee blows the whistle to start the match. The tension is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. This is it. The game kicks off, and Australia comes out swinging. They score the first goal with a powerful shot called Megalodon, and dominate the field with their box-lock defense, which completely neutralizes Jude Sharp. But Mark, ever the optimist, doesn't let the team's spirit drop and keeps everyone motivated. Jude, the team's brain, figures out that the key to escaping the box is individual skill and manages to dribble past his markers. But then Coach Travis shocks everyone. He substitutes Jude for Austin. The swap seems crazy, but Austin immediately steals the ball and breathes new life into the attack. Mark saves a deadly shot and has a sudden realization. Jude's secret training in his room was to prepare specifically for the box-lock defense. In the second half, Travis pushes Hurley Kane to use a new move. Inspired by the sea, Hurley unleashes the Typhoon and ties the game. Inazuma Japan is showing its strength. In a quiet moment, Travis reveals the secret of his past to Mark. He took the blame for a fight to protect his former team at Royal Academy. The guy wasn't cursed, he was a hero in disguise. In the final stretch, Australia man-marks Hurley, but Jack Wallside pulls off a surprise, dribbling past 3 players and passing to Austin. He fakes a shot but delivers a perfect cross to Axel, who finishes with fireball screw. What a goal. Japan turns the game around and wins 2-1. In the locker room, Austin explains he passed the ball because Axel's accuracy was the safer bet. The next challenge is Qatar, and once again, Austin leaves early. The mystery continues. After an intense training session focused on endurance, Mark starts getting suspicious of Austin, who keeps disappearing mid-practice. Playing detective, he and the team uncover the secret. Austin wasn't skipping training to slack off, but to help his sick mother run the family's restaurant. That explains why he's always exhausted. Meanwhile, Archer runs into his old crew, led by a guy named Felix, who tries to force him back into his old life. but Mark shows up to set things straight, acting like a true captain and protecting Archer. However, Coach Hillman gives him an ultimatum. If Archer gets into one more fight, he's off the team. The day of the match against Qatar's Desert Lion arrives. The Japanese team starts strong, with goals from Zine and Axel. It looked like it was going to be an easy win, but in the second half, things fell apart. The Lions revealed their master strategy. They let Inazuma Japan burn through all their energy at the start while they conserved theirs. It was a true 4D chess move. The result? Jordan Greenway faints from exhaustion, and other players start dropping like flies. The team is left completely vulnerable. Austin comes on, but it seems he's forgotten how to shoot. He sticks to passing, afraid to take a shot himself. To add to the drama, Qatar manages to tie the game in injury time. What a rude awakening. With the clock nearly at 0 and the team running on fumes, Austin finally has to face his trauma of shooting. The one who gives him the push is none other than Axel, who gets in his face and tells him, "Trust us and use your talent, ma'am. This lecture works better than therapy." In the final seconds, Austin is like a different person. Using the agility he learned from making deliveries, he dribbles past half the opposing team and unleashes Tiger Drive. A shot so powerful it looks like a heat-seeking missile. The ball only stops at the back of the net, securing a 3-2 victory. After the game, another surprise. We find out Austin is only 12 and couldn't play before due to his age. His personality does a complete 180. The shy kid disappears and is replaced by a cocky player who immediately challenges Axel for the top scorer spot on the team. Meanwhile, Archer Hawkins remains a big question mark. No one really understands why he's on the team, and Mark decides he's going to solve this mystery the only way he knows how, by challenging him to a one-on-one on the field. Mark gets an urgent call from Coach Hillman and becomes Archer's personal trainer. He finds him in a vacant lot, and the scene is depressing. Even though Archer was trained by the coach, he's still as clumsy as a rag doll, crippled by insecurity. During their training, he opens up. He's terrified of failing and embarrassing the team. Mark, being the heart of the squad, gives him a pep talk, recalling the coach's advice about being patient and trusting his teammates. Slowly but surely, the magic happens. Archer finally lands a perfect shot, right on target. The experience changes everything for him, as he realizes soccer can be fun, not just pressure. Even so, he asks Mark to keep their training a secret, deepening the mystery surrounding him. Inazuma Japan's training is on fire, with everyone pushing themselves to level up. Nathan is trying to revive an old move, like a musician trying to replay a past hit, while Sean and Thor are in full mad scientist mode, cooking up a new combination shot.
Take it!
Amidst all this, Jordan is having an existential crisis, messing everything up and losing his confidence. Luckily, Xavier is there to play motivational coach and remind his friend that soccer is supposed to be fun. But the peace is short-lived. Out of nowhere, a new team emerges to stir up trouble, Neo Japan. And who's in charge? None other than their former coach Lena, who's back to haunt them. She reveals that her team is made up entirely of players who were cut from the main national team selection. Basically, it's a team of rejects, and they're out for blood to prove their worth. The match kicks off, and Neo Japan wastes no time making their presence felt, unleashing upgraded versions of classic techniques, like a refined drill smasher that counters the opening kick and leaves Inazuma Japan completely stunned, unable to grasp what's happening. Neo Japan doesn't let up, continuing their assault with revamped techniques like God Knows +1, which look like they came straight out of a game update, but they didn't count on the wall that is Mark, who pulls out an enhanced fist of justice for a spectacular save. To turn the game around, Nathan steps onto the field as the team's secret weapon and unveils his new technique, the Wind God's Dance. He passes the ball to Axel, who ties the match in style. In the second half, Jordan, now over his slump, unleashes his lightning Axel, but the opposing defense is a fortress. Seeing that things are looking grim, Coach Travis makes the most insane play of all. He moves Mark out of the goal and puts him on offense, with Darren taking over as keeper. It's a classic all-or-nothing move. In the final moments, the gamble pays off. Mark, Jude, and Axel unleash Inazuma Break version 2, scoring the game-winning goal. After the match, Neo Japan accepts their defeat gracefully, but warns that they'll be back stronger. Inazuma Japan celebrates, but with the lingering feeling that we need to get a lot better to take on the world. They barely had time to celebrate their victory when Coach Travis arrives to rain on their parade. He questions whether the team is truly ready for the world stage, which gets to Mark. He becomes completely obsessed and goes into overdrive, training relentlessly to create a new Hisashi Shiatsu. Seeing their friend on the verge of a breakdown, the managers Sue and Cammy try to help with a foolproof plan, distract him with a trip to an amusement park and some ice cream. The plan, of course, fails spectacularly and is interrupted by Sylvia and Celia. After the fiasco, Cammy goes to apologize, but Mark, in his typical good-natured way, takes her to a secret training spot. There, in the middle of their conversation, she makes a simple, almost silly suggestion. What if you change the shape of your hand during the move? And that's when the magic happens. The idea sparks something in Mark's mind and he starts experimenting, discovering a new source of power. Axel gets home and is immediately confronted by his furious father. The old man insists he quit soccer to become a doctor in Germany, citing a family tradition, and for a low blow, even bringing up his sister Julia's accident as a reason. Basically, it's an ultimatum: the ball or the scalpel. While this family drama unfolds, Axel and Austin are training hard. Their goal? To create a perfect combination shot, merging Tiger Drive with Fire Tornado. The timing has to be flawless. During a break from training, Axel drops the bomb on Austin. He's quitting soccer after the next match. The decision is final, but it's not that simple. Axel negotiated with his father. He'll play one more time, help the team qualify for the World Tournament, and only then will he accept his future in a white coat in Germany. The deal is sealed, and the tension is palpable. Axel makes it clear he will give his all in this final match to secure the team's spot before hanging up his cleats for good. It's all or nothing. Mark receives a mysterious letter, and the shock is immense. The handwriting is identical to his grandfather's, who everyone thought was dead. The keeper's mind is thrown into chaos, and he starts to wonder if the old man is actually alive out there, like a prime-time soap opera plot twist. To make matters worse, Axel confirms to Mark that the story about him quitting soccer is real. Mark is obviously devastated, and even tries to play the hero by talking to Axel's father to change his mind, but the mission fails miserably. The man is a brick wall. In the midst of this chaos, the coach has a brilliant idea: move their training sessions to a mud field. The official excuse is that the team needs to adapt to any condition. In reality, it feels more like one of those crazy reality show challenges, designed just to test the team's limits. And as if that weren't enough, the opponent for the Asian preliminaries final is revealed: the powerhouse South Korean team, known as Fire Dragon. With Axel's future on the line and his departure looming, uncertainty takes over the team. On the way to the stadium, Archer Hawkins runs into his old gang, who try to start trouble and stop him from playing. It's almost like an action movie scene, but he manages to resolve his past conflicts with the help of some unexpected allies, showing he's left that life behind. Once at the stadium, Inazuma, Japan gets a huge surprise. The Fire Dragon team is packed with familiar rivals like Byron Love and Torcha, and leading this crew is a sinister strategist named Chung Soo Choi, the Dragon Tamer. The nickname says it all. But the biggest plot twist comes from Inazuma's own coach, who simply benches Mark, and it doesn't stop there. He gives the keeper a historic lecture, criticizing his leadership and pointing out tactical flaws in front of everyone. A reality check no one saw coming. The game begins, and to make things worse, Fire Dragon scores first, but Thor and Sean don't take it lying down and equalize moments later with a spectacular combination shot.
I think I'll call it
Thunder Beast!
Meanwhile, Mark watches from the bench, more confused than the John Travolta meme, trying to process the coach's sermon and figure out what he needs to do to get back in the game. The ball is rolling, and Inazuma, Japan is in deep trouble against Fire Dragon, the South Korean team. They employ a tactic called perfect zone press, which is basically a death trap. Players are cornered in circles and lose the ball without even seeing it coming, with terrifying precision. As if that weren't enough, things get ugly when Sean and Hurley accidentally collide and have to be substituted. In comes Scott and Austin to try to hold the line, but it's no use. Fire Dragon is simply dominating and scores 2 more goals. To cap off the first half, and not in a good way, they unleash an atomic flare that nearly rips through the net. At halftime, the mood is like a funeral. Coach Travis pours salt on the wound by revealing that Jude has a knee injury, and to make things even crazier, he makes substitutions that no one understands. He takes out Jordan and Jude and brings in Caleb, a total wild card who has never played an official match. To complete the chaos, Inazuma, Japan returns for the second half a man down. Their entire bet is now on this mysterious player, who could be the team's salvation or its complete downfall. Caleb enters the field and immediately causes chaos. The guy is a ball hog, playing only for himself, refusing to pass properly, and even getting into an argument with Nathan mid-game. The team is completely lost. lost, unsure of what to do. Then, a flashback reveals the kid's tragic backstory. His father was unjustly fired, his family fell into debt, and now Caleb is obsessed with power to ensure he never experiences that humiliation again. But Mark, our golden-hearted captain, senses there's more to it. From the goal, he figures out that Caleb's individualism is actually a brilliant tactic. Mark rallies the team and explains that the rookie's bad passes are calculated baits to exploit gaps in the opponent's defense. And what do you know? It works. The team starts playing to his rhythm, and the connection finally clicks. Nathan and Jack unleash a spectacular tornado falls and tie the game at 2-2. The crowd goes wild, but the joy is short-lived. Fire Dragon is out for blood and comes at Inazuma Japan with another chaos break, trying to finish the game for good. Things are tense, but that's when Archer Hawkins decides he's done being afraid. He overcomes his mental block, screams that he won't run away anymore, and creates a brand new defensive move out of thin air, Vac Attack, which stops the shot cold. What a moment, and he doesn't stop there. On the counterattack, Zine himself takes the ball, charges forward, and unleashes Meteor Blade version 2, tying the game at 3-3. It's become his personal highlight reel. To complete the comeback, Mark levels up too. He evolves his Fist of Justice into the mighty Hammer of Fury, and saves another chaos break, keeping the score even. No one can stop these kids. In the final minutes, the Golden Duo steps up. Axel and Sean combine their powers in Tiger Storm, a cannonball of a shot that blasts through the defense and scores the game-winning goal. 4-3, an epic comeback. With the final whistle, Inazuma Japan qualifies for the World Tournament. Even Axel's father shows up to offer his support, and the team celebrates, ready to head to Laika Island, where the real battle will begin. Inazuma Japan finally lands on FFI Island, also known as Football Island. The place is like a soccer theme park, with streets that mimic different countries, but the real bombshell drops during the flight. Nelly tells Mark that his grandfather, who everyone thought had kicked the bucket 40 years ago, is alive and has been in hiding this whole time. It's the soap opera plot twist no one saw coming. As soon as they arrive, Mark bumps into Fideo, the striker for the Italian team. The guy is training Rocky Balboa style, but with a truck tire. Not to be outdone, Mark shows off his god hand defense and leaves the Italians speechless. As a reward, Fideo gives the tire to Mark as a gift. It's the start of a beautiful rivalry. The opening ceremony begins, and the tournament introduces the 10 finalist teams. The world's soccer elite is all there, including tough nuts to crack like Brazil, Italy, and Argentina. The tension is in the air, and Mark, with fire in his eyes, declares he will lead the team to the top. Meanwhile, in the shadows, someone is already hatching a sinister plan to ruin everyone's party. Classic. The coach gathers the team to explain the tournament rules, which is basically a knockout tournament in 2 stages. 2 groups of 5, with only the top 2 from each side advancing. Inazuma Japan has been placed in Group A, and their first challenge is against England. To heat things up, the English team, who call themselves the Knights of Queen, invite the Japanese for a gala party, but Mark has other priorities. Instead of heading straight to the cocktail party, he decides to slip away to train with Fideo and other international stars. He's shocked by their skill level and realizes he's in a much tougher league now. Mark arrives late to the party, and the English captain, Edgar, a first-class show-off, immediately challenges him to a penalty shootout. The duel is quick and humiliating. Edgar uses his superpowered shot, Excalibur, and completely shatters Mark's Hammer of Fury, winning with ease, despite the crushing defeat. The humiliation serves as fuel. Mark and the team understand that to compete at this level, they're going to meet a serious upgrade. The day of the match against England arrives. Inazuma Japan enters the field with fire in their eyes, but is immediately met by the defensive wall of the Knights of Queen. To make matters worse, Edgar decides to show off and unleashes an Excalibur from midfield. The ball travels like a guided missile, and to Mark's despair, the shot's power increases with distance. It's England's first goal. Mark is stunned, realizing his current techniques are like a water pistol against a tank. England takes advantage of the shock and dominates the game with their absolute Knights formation, a nearly impenetrable blockade. But Inazuma Japan doesn't give up and starts looking for an opening. They discover the English tactic's Achilles heel. The defense falls into disarray whenever Edgar himself has to drop back to get the ball. With this insight, Mark decides there's no point in trying to stop Excalibur with what he has. He needs to create a brand new technique from scratch to stop that monster. Now the mission is to turn the game around before halftime. The match between Inazuma Japan and the Knights of Queen is at its climax, and things are tense. The big defender Jack Wallside takes such a hard hit, he has to be subbed out. To add more fuel to the fire, striker Kevin comes in, completely shifting the formation to a more offensive approach. The Knights respond with their absolute Knights tactic, closing off their defense like a fortress. But Kevin, who isn't messing around, finds an opening and unleashes a brand new shot, Dragon Slayer, tying the match. But the English team is full of tricks. They change their formation in a bizarre way, intentionally leaving the flanks open like a trap. It's their Knights Lance plan in action. The forward advances through the middle and unleashes a powerful shot called Paladin Strike, a simply unstoppable blast that puts the Knights ahead just before the break. In the locker room, Mark is down in the dumps, feeling useless for not being able to stop their shots. Inspired by some unconventional advice, he returns for the second half with a new mindset. Inazuma Japan strikes back, confusing the opponent with a flurry of passes, and Austin seizes the moment to score with his Gladius Arch. In the final seconds, Kevin tries Dragon Slayer again, but the English captain counters with Excalibur, fusing the energy of both shots into a deadly ball of energy. This is where Mark shines. Using his new technique, Dimensional Hand, he deflects the ball by a hair's breadth, securing a 3-2 victory. And to top it off, a mysterious figure watches the field from afar. After their epic victory, the Inazuma Japan crew is in full party mode, celebrating Mark's new technique, the Dimensional Hand. The coach informs them their next opponent is Argentina, known for its impenetrable defense, but gives everyone a day off to relax. However, not everyone is in a festive mood. Darren, the substitute goalkeeper, is having an existential crisis, feeling like he's just a cheap copy of Mark's techniques and a mere background character. He isolates himself from the team, determined to create his own original Hisatsu. His teammates notice his anguish, and instead of letting him wallow, they rally to help. During a grueling training session, Darren tries, fails, tries again, and even faints from exhaustion. That's when Mark arrives to give him a pep talk, revealing that he also went through hell to evolve. He tells him the truth. Imitation is the first step to becoming original. This conversation gives Darren a major boost. With renewed confidence, he finally masters Fiend Hand in a moment of pure clarity, stopping Hurley's The Typhoon with pinpoint accuracy. The team's joy is short-lived. The festive atmosphere is shattered by a strange scene. Caleb is seen talking with Ray Dark, the villainous former coach of Royal Academy. Jude, who has a traumatic past with the man, immediately recognizes the person who manipulated him and destroyed countless lives out of pure vengeance. Flashbacks reveal Dark's evil resume, sabotage, doping, and a twisted obsession with erasing the legacy of Mark's grandfather. Fearing Caleb is falling for the villain's tricks again, Jude confronts him, but his friend dismisses his concerns. The worry messes with Caleb's head so much that his performance in training plummets, and the coach benches him to cool off. Determined to solve this, Jude goes after Dark, and Mark, like a true friend, goes with him. They find Caleb about to board a highly suspicious bus. Mark refuses to abandon his friend and gets on board as well. Then comes the surprise. Other players from the team have followed them, showing that the group is more united than ever. Out of nowhere, Ray Dark's voice emerges from the shadows, marking his return and vowing to sabotage the entire tournament. He's the classic villain who shows up just to ruin the party. Mark and Jude Sharp, who already know his playbook, switch into detective mode and decide to investigate the madman's plans. Meanwhile, the Italian national team, Orpheus, is in a real bind. A suspicious new coach, a certain Mr. K, who looks like a total fraud, arrives and simply dismisses the entire team, replacing them with a new squad called Team K. Things get even weirder when the Orpheus players start suffering a series of highly suspicious accidents, one after another, leaving only 7 players standing. It's like something out of a horror movie. In a scene worthy of the big screen, Mark shows up in the nick of time to save Fidel from falling debris. That's when they connect the dots. The accidents were Ray Dark's doing, and the so-called Mr. K is obviously Dark himself in a pretty lousy disguise. Jude confronts the villain directly, who tries to sweet-talk him back to the dark side, but Jude refuses. Caleb, who was suspected of being in cahoots with Dark, reveals he only met with him to make it clear he wanted no part of his schemes. In the end, he agrees to help Orpheus in their match against Team K, aiming to unmask Mr. K once and for all. The moment of truth has arrived. The Japanese players take the field as substitutes to complete the Orpheus roster, setting the stage for the decisive match against Team K. As soon as the game kicks off, Mr. K reveals what everyone already suspected. He is Ray Dark, the grand manipulator behind it all. Team K's captain, a guy named Demonio Strata, who is practically Jude's clone, begins to dominate the game. He uses incredibly powerful techniques that put Orpheus completely on the defensive, leaving them at a loss.
True illusion ball!
At the same time, Dark starts playing mind games with Jude, trying to destabilize him and make him question his own identity right on the field. It's pure soap opera villain manipulation, but Caleb isn't having any of it. He stands up to Dark, declaring his loyalty to the team and rejecting any of the villain's influence. Despite his effort and bravado, Orpheus can't handle the pressure. Team K unleashes a devastating shot, Emperor Penguin X, and scores the first goal of the match. The first half ends with Dark's team in the lead, leaving a tense atmosphere hanging in the air. The second half begins with Orpheus trailing, but Jude, fully inspired by Caleb's defiant attitude, seems to have hit the turbo button and starts motivating the team. Meanwhile, Demonio Strata's body begins to fail. The enhancements Dark implanted in him are malfunctioning, and he starts to feel pain mid-game. The evil puppet's operating system is crashing. Taking advantage of the situation, Mark makes a spectacular save and without even blinking, leads a counterattack that results in the tying goal. The game is on fire, even with Demonio accepting his fate as one of Dark's tools. Orpheus keeps up the pressure. Caleb and Jude attempt a new combination shot, but the play fails. That's when they get the idea to collaborate with the Japanese players. Together, they create an unprecedented technique, Emperor Penguin number 3. The new move is a success and turns the game around, putting Orpheus in the league. Team K collapses, and Demonio finally realizes he's not the ultimate player he thought he was. Orpheus wins, but they barely have time to celebrate. They receive news that Argentina's match has been moved up and is about to start at another stadium. It's a mad dash, and to make the chaos worse, Coach Hillman and Captain Mark are nowhere to be found. They were called in for questioning about Ray Dark, that guy who's always involved in some shady business, and nobody knows where they are. Without their leaders, the team decides the show must go on and heads to the match anyway. With no one in charge, Hurley Kane steps up to play captain for the day. He pulls a coach, reorganizes the positions, and sends everyone onto the field. The match begins, and it's clear the Argentinian team isn't messing around. They have a defense that's like a brick wall and use a tactic called zigzag flame that leaves everyone completely lost. It doesn't take long for the Empire to open the scoring with a humbly named technique, Hellfire, 1-0 to them. The keeper, Darren, even tries to launch the Mugen the Hand, but it's no use. The result? The Argentinians score another goal before the break, and the first half ends 2-0. They're in deep trouble. The second half kicks off, and Argentina continues to crush Inazuma, Japan. They unleash a tactic with a horror movie name, Antlion Death Trap, focusing all defenses on the poor attacker, who's suffering worse than Batman under Bane's grip. Things get so bad that Nathan gets injured trying to stop an attack and has to be replaced by Tan. Just when all seemed lost, the team gets a morale boost straight from their supporters in the stands. Inspired, they come up with a plan. Todd, in a move no one saw coming, dribbles past everyone on the wing and crosses the ball into the box with sniper-like precision. That's when the magic happens. Axel, Zine, and Austin team up and unleash a brand new technique, Grand Fire, which finally breaks through the Argentinian defense. What a goal! The score is now 2-1, and hope is restored. Despite the heroic comeback, there's no time for anything else. The game ends, 2-1 to the Empire. It's one of those defeats that tastes like almost. Right after the match, Mark and the others finally show up, explaining that Ray Dark set them up and had them trapped. It had to be him. The team is down about the loss, but they quickly shake off the dust and focus on the challenges ahead. After the painful defeat, Inazuma, Japan goes into intense training mode. No one wants a repeat of that embarrassment, and there's news for the roster. Sean finally recovers from his injury and returns to the team. The bad news is that for him to join, Todd is cut by the coach. Meanwhile, guess who's up to his old tricks? Ray Dark, now the coach of the Italian team, Orpheus. In their match against England, he pulls a move straight out of an evil genius playbook, ordering the team to change formation in the second half and securing a 2-1 comeback victory. You can't deny it, the guy's good, but Fideo, one of the players, gets a bad feeling about it, suspicious of Dark's true intentions. In a completely different turn of events, Camilla feels sick and faints after witnessing an accident. Then comes the bombshell. The coach reveals that she is an orphan who lost her parents in a similar accident. To prevent her from having a breakdown, they had her hypnotized to erase her memories, like something out of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. His fear is that if she remembers everything, she might completely lose it. Camilla wakes up in the hospital with no memory of the incident and tells Sylvia she had a bizarre dream about Mark as a child. And to top it off with more mystery, Eric Eagle from the US team sets up a secret meeting with Sylvia. What could he possibly want? Eric Eagle calls Sylvia for a secret chat in the park, setting a suspenseful mood. Meanwhile, the Japanese team is watching the performance of the American team, Unicorn, and the guys are absolute monsters, steamrolling everyone in their path. Sylvia, ever observant, senses that Eric is acting strangely. Then Bobby arrives and drops the bombshell. Eric was in a terrible accident in the past and now needs a high-risk surgery that could end his career forever. But Eric is more determined than ever. He decides he will play against Japan as if it were his last match ever, the game of his life. He even asks Sylvia to keep this secret from Mark so as not to rattle his rival. The stadium is packed. The tension is immense. The match begins and Eric seems possessed, dominating the entire field. Giving no one a chance, he unleashes his Pegasus shot, a devastating strike that ripples the net and puts the Japanese team on high alert.
Pegasus shot! What
The message has been sent. This game is going to be brutal. The match between Inazuma Japan and Unicorn continues at a frantic pace. On one side, Eric Eagle doesn't give them a second's rest, pressing forward with aggressive plays. On the other, Mark is holding down the fort like a true captain, leading the Japanese resistance. In the midst of this chaos, Sean and Nathan pull a rabbit out of a hat. They create a new technique on the spot, the hurricane, and tie the game in a moment of pure emotion. During halftime, the mood gets heavy. Sylvia confronts Eric about the surgery he's been putting off, risking everything. That's when Eric finally opens up to Mark, revealing that this could be his last match. The two make a pact of mutual respect as rivals, and promise to give it their all on the field. In the second half, Unicorn scores again with the Unicorn boost, but Mark is unfazed. In a moment of pure brilliance, he abandons the goal entirely, sprinting forward to intercept the ball and block another shot on target. Hurley decides it's his time to shine and on a corner kick, sends the ball straight into the net with his technique, the tube, showing off otherworldly precision. But Team Unicorn doesn't let up and answers right back with the Grand Fenrir, a cannonball of a shot that blasts through the Japanese defense. The Japanese team is at its breaking point from exhaustion, so some strategic substitutions are made to bring in fresh legs. That's when Jude and Caleb, in perfect sync, manage to figure out the weakness in the American play. The discovery paves the way for Axel to tie it all up again with a spectacular grand fire. In the final minutes, the Unicorn coach, aware of Eric's condition, takes him off the field to protect him. The game ends in an epic 3-3 draw. Even though he didn't win, Eric admits to Mark that he's rediscovered his passion for the game and promises he'll return to the field for one final showdown. Their story isn't over yet. Mark has seen things like a demon haunting the dorms, but the rest of the team thinks he's just losing it and blows the whole thing off. Meanwhile, at practice, things heat up. Zine, who never misses a chance to be a pain, starts provoking Scott. It escalates into a chase straight out of a cartoon, and the two end up completely lost in the middle of the forest. Out of nowhere, in the middle of the woods, a bizarre figure named Carl Kappa appears and challenges them to a soccer match. Kappa's team is like they're using cheat codes, dominating the entire game and leaving the two clueless. The humiliation is only cut short when Zine, in a moment of pure genius, unleashes his Meteor Blade version 2 and manages to score a goal. The mysterious players are so impressed that they decide to help the two get back home. And how do they do it? By leaving a trail of cucumbers. Yes, cucumbers. The weirdest part is when they finally arrive back at the dorm. No time has passed at all. The entire team is getting ready for lunch, as if they had never left. Scott and Zine just stand there, completely baffled by what just happened. The team receives letters from Japan, but among the news from home is a sinister note from Dave Quagmire. It's a cryptic warning about the upcoming match against Italy, leaving everyone on edge. Austin, in particular, doesn't handle the pressure well and starts acting like a complete jerk, lashing out at his teammates during a break. He's completely on edge. Archer, fed up with his teammates' attitude, challenges him to a dribbling duel with one condition. If Austin loses, he has to swallow his pride and apologize. And just like that, Archer wins the challenge. Later, he overhears Austin venting to himself, confessing that he's incredibly homesick and worried about his mother. The tough guy act was just a front to hide his sadness. Filled with regret, Austin apologizes to everyone. To prove he's back in the game, he dedicates himself to training and creates a brand new shot, the RC shot. To end the episode on a high note, his sister arrives with special bento boxes from the restaurant Tiger Special. Because nothing brings the team together like good food and a new super shot, Camilla has been having some very strange flashbacks, as if her memory is glitching. The situation turns serious during a practice match against Spain's Red Matador. In the middle of the game, her mind blue screens. She recovers all of her memories at once and collapses on the field. She remembers everything, including the tragic death of her parents and a childhood connection she had with Mark. Her father, who is also the coach, panics and considers the most radical option, wiping her memories again, MIB style. but Mark intervenes and stops him, insisting that she needs to face her past head-on. Camilla herself agrees. She decides to keep her memories, stating that having her friends by her side gives her the strength she needs to move forward. And just when we think the drama is over, Detective Nellie arrives to drop a bombshell. Camilla's late father, Patrick Green, helped Mark's grandfather escape from a sinister organization called the Program. And the plot twist of the plot twist? He suggests that the Program was just a pawn, manipulated by an even greater and more mysterious force. The mystery only deepens. Things are looking grim for Inazuma Japan. The standings in Group A are tighter than a drum. Orpheus is in the lead, Japan is right behind them, and Team Unicorn is nipping at their heels, ready to steal their spot. In short, if Japan loses to Italy, they're out of the tournament. Game over. During practice, Mr. K tries to teach them a secret tactic called Catenaccio counter, but the Orpheus players are suspicious, sensing there's a catch. Their captain, Fideo, receives an anonymous package containing a tape of an old match between Korea and Japan. While watching it, he instantly recognizes the playstyle that Travis is trying to teach them. The game kicks off at Condor Stadium, and Japan comes out swinging, dominating and scoring a goal with Crossfire. Italy tries to use the secret tactic, but Fideo simply ignores the plan and plays his own way, causing a huge rift within the team. Despite this chaos, the Italian defense manages to hold the line, and the first half ends with Japan in the lead. The game resumes, and Italy, which seemed to be in disarray, finally gets its act together. They execute the Catenaccio counter to perfection. Imagine a wall that not only blocks you, but also transforms into a deadly attack in seconds. That's what it is. Fideo commands the play, steals the ball, and passes it to Raphael, who shoots with precision and ties the match. And then comes the episode's bombshell. Mr. K reveals that he is, in fact, Ray Dark. He confesses that he was obsessed with destroying Japanese soccer to avenge his father's downfall, a classic soap opera villain. But Fideo, instead of freaking out, plays psychologist and confronts Dark, telling him that his tactics only work because deep down, he truly loves soccer. That one hit the villain right in the soul. Dark simply breaks down, accepts the truth, lets go of his hatred, and decides to join the team with his whole heart. Orpheus is reborn, now as a truly united team, and the second half begins with Dark declaring he will win using legitimate soccer. What a plot twist. The second half turns into a battle of pure strategy, like a chess match on the field. Orpheus, now united and with a redeemed coach, uses the Catenaccio counter to neutralize everything Japan tries to do. To make matters worse, Fideo scores an amazing goal with his Odin sword technique and takes the lead. But Inazuma Japan is not one to give up. Jude Sharp, the team's tactical genius, notices a tiny flaw in the Italian formation and devises a plan. He tells Austin to take advantage of the opening. The move works, and Axel and Austin even the score once again with their Tiger Storm. What an insane match. During the break, the drama moves off the field. A blind girl who was cured thanks to Dark appears at the stadium. She reveals to everyone that he was the one who paid for her surgery. She confronts Dark about his crimes, but also thanks him for saving her life. With a heavy heart, Dark confirms that this is his last game before he turns himself into the police. The score remains tied, and now both teams' qualification depends on the result of the match between Unicorn and the Empire. The suspense is killing me. The second half of the match against Orpheus begins with a substitution that changes everything. Nakata enters the field, and the guy barely steps on the grass before showing what he's made of. Nakata takes advantage of the new momentum and scores a spectacular goal, turning the game around to 3-2. Things get tense for Inazuma Japan, who are now playing catch-up. But if there's one thing this team knows how to do, it's bounce back under pressure. Jude Sharp, the master tactician, manages to tie the game, making it 3-3. It's a breathtaking match, but the most shocking part comes after the final whistle. Fideo reveals to Jude that he used Ray Dark's father's tactics on purpose. The goal wasn't just to win, but to make Ray Dark himself reconnect with soccer and with his father. Basically, he used soccer as therapy for the villain, a plot twist worthy of a soap opera, and it seems to have worked because right after, the police show up and arrest Ray Dark. It's the end of an era for the guy who caused so much trouble. With Unicorn's defeat to Argentina, Inazuma Japan breathes a sigh of relief. They've qualified for the finals. The spot didn't come from a direct victory, but in soccer, the final result is what counts, right? While the team celebrates, there's a moment of farewell. Bobby has to return to the United States to support his friend Eric Eagle, who is about to undergo a very delicate surgery. Friendship comes first. Soon after, Mr. Veteran arrives on the island, bringing a special special delivery, a notebook that Ray Dark entrusted to him, which goes straight into Mark's hands. It's his grandfather's last journal. The anticipation is through the roof, with everyone expecting to find secret techniques and killer moves. But when Mark opens it, he's completely surprised. There are no new shooting techniques, no impossible dribbles. What he finds are 11 principles of the heart, a sort of spiritual guide to strengthen the team from the inside out. While the team tries to absorb this philosophy, Sue and Tori get into a random mess. They receive some mysterious keys from a local vendor, and the keys get stuck on their wrists like bracelets that won't come off. A really bizarre situation that is sure to cause more trouble down the line. We learn of an ancient legend from Lyocott Island that sounds like a movie script. There was a war between heaven and hell, and guess how they settled the dispute? With a soccer match, of course. The game served to seal away the demon lord and bring peace. A pretty wild bedtime story. And it seems this legend is about to become reality. During a practice match between Inazuma Japan and other international players, the weather suddenly turns. Strange lights start flashing in the sky. The atmosphere grows heavy, and suddenly, the soccer anime turns into something else entirely. A being that looks like an angel descends from the heavens and simply abducts Sue. And as if that weren't enough, a demon then emerges from the shadows and takes Celia. The team is left completely stunned. What was supposed to be a practice session has turned into an apocalyptic event. To make matters worse, the vendors who gave the keys to Sue and Tori reappear and reveal their plan. Sue has been taken to the Heaven's Garden, and Celia is at the Demon's Gate. The mission is no longer to win a championship, but to rescue their friends. The team splits in two. One group will face the Angels to save Sue, and the other will descend into hell to get Celia. The soccer tournament will have to wait. Mark and his team finally arrive at the Heaven's Garden, but the vibe is anything but peace and love. They discover that Sue is slated to be the next sacrifice, all to seal away a demon. It seems they've escaped one problem only to fall into an even bigger one. The apostles from the sky, the rulers of the place, propose a solution very much in the anime style, a soccer match to decide the girl's fate. If Mark's team wins, she lives. If they lose, it's over for her. The game begins and it's a spectacle of special effects. The apostles use celestial techniques like Heavenly Drive and Celestial Zone, completely dominating the field. Things get really dire when Edgar, in a heroic act, throws himself in front of a super-powered shot, essentially sacrificing his own leg to prevent a goal. The guy is a true warrior. The match reaches its climax. The tension is palpable, but Mark doesn't disappoint. With a spectacular move, Tori uses the Tower version 2 and sends the ball straight into the goal, securing the victory in the final minute. With Sue saved, Sanctus, the leader of the apostles, has a revelation. He realizes that soccer isn't just a game, but a force that unites souls. Instead of using a sacrifice, he decides the best way to seal the demon is through soccer itself, a much more civilized solution. We can all agree. Now it's Jude's turn to play the hero. He and his team storm the Demon's Gate on a rescue mission to save Celia, who has been taken prisoner by the Devil Army Z. The villain's leader, a guy named Destra, lays it all out. Celia will be the sacrifice to bring the demon back to life. It seems human sacrifice is all the rage this season, and for a change, everyone's fate will be decided in a soccer match. Only this game is dirty. The opponents use sinister techniques like Dark Thunder, which not only threaten the goal, but also drain the players' souls. The first half is a complete disaster, with Jude's team being totally dominated and weakened. At halftime, Jude, the group's strategist, reorganizes the team. He joins forces with international players who were on hand, and masterminds a brilliant counterattack. With surgical passes and team plays, they turn the game around. The winning goal comes from Austin, who uses his Gladius Arch to seal the victory. But as they celebrate, the plot twist hits. The villains reveal that it was all part of the plan. The energy released during the match was exactly what they needed to awaken the demon. The sky darkens, and a shadowy portal opens above the field. Their victory has just caused 1,000 times bigger problem. The heavens merge with the underworld, and from that chaos emerges the Dark Angel, a bizarre fusion of Sanctus and Destra. He is the incarnation of the demon itself and immediately announces his plan. 11 players will be sacrificed in a macabre ritual. The final match begins, and the Dark Angel is a nightmare. He uses overwhelming techniques like Shadow Ray and leaves Mark's team completely overloaded with the fear his power generates. Defeat seems inevitable, securing the win in the final minute, but Austin had a plan. He kept the forwards back, preserving their energy for the right moment. In a decisive play, Mark evolves True Dimensional Hand to defend a game-defining shot. With the defense secured, the unthinkable happens. In the last second, Mark leaves the goal, sprints like a madman across the entire field, and, using the Megaton ahead, scores the winning goal. Epic is the only word for it. The victory breaks the seal, and Sanctus, now separated from Destra, explains the moral of the story. The demon is just the darkness within everyone, and soccer acts as a discipline to seal that dark side away. The teams reconcile, but out of nowhere, Nelly announces she's leaving the team right before the semifinals. A happy ending with a bitter, mysterious aftertaste. We open in the middle of the Group B final with Brazil's The Kingdom against France's Rose Griffin. The match is tense, but the Brazilian team dominates with a wicked tactic called the Amazon River Wave. Their star player Robinho is unstoppable, scoring a hat-trick and securing Brazil's spot in the finals. The crowd goes wild. After the game, Robinho approaches Mark, captain of Inazuma Japan, and drops a bombshell. He asks them to throw the semi-final match. He's blunt about it, saying that if Inazuma doesn't lose, his team will fall apart. Mark, of course, is completely baffled and refuses on the spot.
Once more, Team Inazuma Japan will fight the kingdom with all the strength and perseverance we have. And then you're gonna see, we will win.
Robinho leaves, leaving everyone with a bad feeling. The Japanese team discusses this bizarre request, especially since the kingdom's stats are off the charts. Things get even weirder when they find a little kid from the Brazilian team whose ball was confiscated by Coach Garshield's goons. The boy tells them that the coach punishes the players, and even their families for any mistake. With this information, Inazuma Japan decides to play spy, and infiltrates Garshield's mansion. There, they uncover a plan worthy of a movie villain. The guy wants to start wars by controlling the oil supply to get filthy rich. And the worst part, he's using the players' families as hostages. They manage to steal the data with the evidence, escape the chase, and hand it all over to Coach Hillman to take to the police. But Garshield remains at large, and the semi-final is still on. Coach Hillman explains Garshield's full supervillain level plan. His oil wells are running dry, so he wants to create wars to make prices skyrocket and sell weapons, profiting from the chaos. Hillman tries to take the evidence to the police, but Garshield's henchmen show up and attack the old man, who already has a heart condition and ends up in the hospital. And to make matters worse, the data never reaches the authorities because Garshield has already bribed everyone. The guy is seriously powerful. On the day of the semi-final, Garshield arrives at the stadium like he owns the world, inside a blimp. It's peak villain ostentation.
It's Garshield!
Before the game starts, the Inazuma Japan team confronts Robinho. Under pressure, he confesses that he was forced to participate in something called the RH program, a sinister human enhancement experiment all to protect his team and family. He had no choice. The match is about to begin, and Garshield, from his luxury box, gives Robinho the final order through a communicator, telling him to show everyone what true soccer is. The atmosphere becomes incredibly heavy, and no one knows what to expect from this game. The semi-final between Inazuma Japan and the Kingdom kicks off, and things get crazy. Robinho, under the influence of the RH program, is like a different person. He plays with a super aggressive and completely uncontrolled style, missing shots he'd never miss and ignoring his own teammates. He's become a soccer machine, but with no soul. The Kingdom's players try to help, but the cruel Garshield orders the team to mark Robinho themselves and combine their Amazon River Wave with the power of the RH program. The result is a ball charged with dark energy that scores the first goal for Brazil. During halftime, Thor approaches Robinho. Robinho finally breaks down and confesses that he accepted this madness to save his family from Garshield's clutches. And that's when justice arrives. Detective Smith makes a surprise appearance with the team's true coach, Leon Sams, who had been imprisoned the entire time. Smith arrests Garshield on the spot, in front of everyone, for all his crimes, from the RH program to his warmongering schemes. With the villain finally behind bars, Robinho feels free and vows to play with honor. Now, with the truth out in the open, both teams prepare for a second half of real soccer, free from manipulation and filled with true sportsmanship. The second half begins with the Kingdom on the offensive, but they quickly adopt a super defensive formation, leaving Inazuma Japan suspicious. Mark confronts Robinho, who comes clean. The players' families depend on jobs at Garshield's company. If the villain goes to prison, everyone will be out of a job. It's basically corporate blackmail. Thor gives one of those classic motivational speeches, reminding everyone how his family always supported him, no matter the struggle. This ignites a fire in the Kingdom, who change their attitude and go on the attack with everything they've got, showcasing their individual skills. Robinho even unleashes his Samba Strike version 2 to score a goal. But Inazuma Japan doesn't take it lying down and ties the game moments later with a powered-up chain shoot. The Kingdom strikes again, and Robinho unleashes the Samba Strike version 3. Mark tries to block it with the true dimensional hand, but it slips through. Right then, Archer steps in and manages to stop the ball. What a save! On the counterattack, Inazuma Japan scores the winning goal. The game is over and they're in the finals. After the celebration, Detective Smith appears with bad news. Garshield pulled a Houdini and escaped during his transport. Now, he could be plotting his revenge. To end on a positive note, we learn that Coach Hillman has been transferred to the General Infirmary and is recovering well. After their semi-final victory, Inazuma Japan sleeps so soundly they might as well be hibernating, missing almost the entire match between Orpheus and Little Gigantes. When they finally wake up, they discover that Little Gigantes absolutely steamrolled the Italian team. And the strangest part is, they didn't use a single Hisatsu technique. They won purely on tactical analysis, studying Orpheus's every move. Cold and calculating, Fideo, Orpheus's captain, is obviously down in the dumps and vents to Mark. Suddenly, Nelly appears accompanied by an old man, whom she introduces as Mr. Arrows, the coach of Little Gigantes. And then comes the plot twist. She reveals that she is now the rival team's manager, shocking a grand total of 0 people, since Nelly loves the drama. In flashbacks, she recounts her journey searching for David Evans in Kotaro, where she found him training a group of talented kids. After hearing his story of fighting Garshield for 40 years, she asks to join his cause, and is accepted. Meanwhile, Mr. Arrows meets with Detective Smith, who explains that he's investigating the accident involving the original Inazuma 11's bus. Back in the present, a call comes in announcing that the Kotaro area is under attack. The break is over. Time to save the day again. Inazuma Japan arrives in the Kotaro area to a scene straight out of a disaster movie. Everything is destroyed, and panic is widespread. They act quickly and rescue a missing child named Kibori. Shortly after, the attackers appear and introduce themselves as Team Garshield. How original, right? To complete the cliché, Garshield himself appears for his villain monologue, revealing that David Evans was his true target all along. He blatantly confesses to causing the bus accident 40 years ago to eliminate the legendary team. The nerve! An outraged Mark challenges Garshield to a match right then and there to protect the honor of soccer. Team Garshield, enhanced by the so-called RH program, completely dominates the game. They are overwhelmingly strong and score the first goal with a shot so powerful it tears right through Mark's true dimensional hand. From the sidelines, David Evans acts as a coach, advising Mark to stop trying to block everything and start studying his opponent's movements. Inazuma Japan is at a disadvantage, but we know they won't give up that easily. Team Garshield kicks things off with a bang, opening the score with a shot that overpowers David Evans' technique.
Gunshot!
The score is against them, but Mark doesn't let their spirits drop and rallies the team. However, the opposing team is a tough nut to crack, dominating the field with otherworldly speed and strength. During halftime, Evans comes up with a wild idea, flipping the script entirely. Defenders like Jack and Archer will push forward to attack, while the midfielders fall back to hold down the fort. It's an all-or-nothing strategy, and believe it or not, the plan works. In the second half, the game is turned on its head. Austin sends out his Gladius Arch into the field, and right after that, Axel, Zine, and Austin tie the game with Grand Fire. The epic comeback is sealed with Tiger Storm, closing the match at 3-2 for Inazuma Japan. After the final whistle, Garshield pulls a Thanos, claiming his actions were to save the world, but Interpol doesn't buy it and takes the villain away. To top it all off, Coach Hillman finally wakes up from his beauty sleep and rejoins the team. Now things are serious. The final is against Little Gigantes, the team coached by none other than Mark's own grandfather. This is going to be a family showdown. He reveals that he faked his own death 40 years ago just so he could investigate Garshield from the shadows and gather evidence against him. He basically became a secret agent. While Mark processes this bombshell, Nelly returns to Inazuma Japan as a manager, bringing a complete dossier on the opposing team. She's come loaded with strategic information to help them prepare. During an evening training session, Mark accidentally bumps into Hector Helio, the goalkeeper for the Little Gigantes, and this guy isn't messing around. Hector has not only mastered the God Hand, but he also reveals that he was trained by Mark's grandfather since he was a child, following the philosophy of always surpassing his own limits. To prove he's the real deal, he takes on Mark's tire challenge and stops it with the precision that leaves our protagonist speechless. And just when the situation seemed tense, who shows up to lend a hand? Fideo, the star player of Italy's Orpheus, offering to help them train. Fideo didn't just come to say hi. He convinces his team, Orpheus, to play a practice match against Inazuma Japan, acting as a high-class sparring partner to to simulate Little Gigantes' tactics, and the training is intense. The match reveals that their opponents play at a breakneck pace, with players who are like Swiss Army knives on the field, capable of doing a little bit of everything. In the midst of all this, Mark is trying to master a new defensive Hisatsu, but he's just embarrassing himself, failing time and time again. Frustration hits him hard, but then Fideo gives him a pep talk, and bam! Mark finally overcomes his self-doubt and unleashes God Catch, an incredible evolution of the God Hand. Orpheus doesn't stop there. They even throw in some tactical lessons, teaching the team how to exploit gaps in the opponent's defense with delayed passes and create more space on the field. A true 5-star consultation. Inazuma Japan wins the practice match, and the team's confidence skyrockets. Now, with God Catch in their arsenal and their morale renewed, they head to the final, determined to prove they are the best in the world. The Raymond Soccer Club is so popular that the players from the old team are all flocking to it. Its popularity is through the roof. To celebrate, the principal decides to upgrade the club headquarters, turning the place into a true monument. Meanwhile, the team's managers keep Mark close by as if he were a good luck charm. The team gathers, determined to bring the final trophy home for their supporters. During a conversation, Mark and Axel have a flashback moment, almost like a season recap. He remembers when he started playing soccer alone, against his mother's wishes, how he built the club with Kevin and Steve, and all the hard work it took to make the team what it is today. In parallel, managers Celia and Nellie are in detective mode, studying David Evans's notebook. They compile 10 rules of the heart, which are basically life cheat codes, like the power of forgiveness and unwavering trust. Speaking of cheat codes, Sean has a sudden moment of inspiration, and finally masters the 7th rule, creating a brand new Hisatsu technique. Coach Travis warns them that the final will be even tougher than anyone expects, adding even more pressure. With their training fired up, the team heads to the stadium with a single mission in mind: to become the champions of the world. The stadium is packed, the crowd is going wild, and the FFI Grand Final between Inazuma Japan and Little Gigantes is about to begin. Coach Travis takes charge in place of Percival, like the master arriving for the final battle, and gives an emotional speech in honor of the absent members. And then, the Little Gigantes players enter the field, and we discover the secret to their strength. They train and play wearing 20 kilograms weights. It's basically Goku's training on Namek. Before the ball rolls, there are a few moments of calm. Cammy hands Travis a freshly ironed shirt, and Nellie offers Mark some rice balls to give him a little energy. It's the calm before the storm. Inazuma Japan kicks off, but Little Gigantes isn't playing around and immediately goes on the offensive with their special tactics. Their striker, Drago Hill, unleashes a shot called Double Jaw, which is so powerful it shatters Mark's still incomplete God Catch. The ball goes in, and Little Gigantes takes the lead, 1-0. The game has barely started, and our heroes have already suffered a rude awakening. Down 1-0, Inazuma Japan goes on an all-out offensive, attacking relentlessly. But their goalkeeper, Hector, is like a brick wall and stops every attempt, including one from Kevin. The situation becomes even more tense when Mark, trying to defend a corner kick, collides with the post and gets injured. To make matters worse, Kevin throws himself in front of a shot to save the team, acting as a human shield, and has to be substituted by Austin. A true heroic sacrifice. Seeing his team in trouble, Coach Travis changes the strategy. Now, all 11 players will defend the goal together. It's an all-out defensive operation, aimed at buying Mark time to perfect God Catch, and that's when it finally clicks for Mark. He realizes he needs to protect the goal, not be protected by it. With this new mindset, he finally executes the complete technique and stops a shot from Drago Hill. With the defense secured, the team unites in a lightning-fast counterattack, forming a circle that breaks through Little Gigantes' defense, and at the end of the play, the unthinkable happens. Mark charges down the field and passes the ball to Zim, who unleashes a celestial smash, tying the game 1-1 just as the referee blows the whistle for halftime. But in the second half, Little Gigantes pulls a rabbit out of the hat. They move their goalkeeper Hector to the striker position. Imagine a world-class keeper becoming a striker in the middle of a World Cup final. And the craziest part is, it works. He goes on to score a goal, leaving everyone speechless. To spice things up, Inazuma Japan brings Caleb into the match, intensifying their attack. But the real showstopper is Mark, who upgrades his God Catch mid-match, like a software update, and starts blocking the opponent's evolved shots. Thanks to him, the game is tied once again, things take a dramatic turn when the backup goalkeeper gets injured while saving a shot, and Hector has to step back into the goal. The rest of the game is a barrage of attacks from both sides, but neither team can break the deadlock. With the score locked, the game goes into overtime. Neither side is backing down, and then Coach Travis gives the most unexpected order in soccer history. Instead of shouting tactics, he tells the team to have fun. Yes, you heard that right. Go out there and play for the love of the game. It sounds like advice from a life coach, but unbelievably, it works. This bizarre command reignites Inazuma Japan's passion, and the team starts playing with the perfect coordination of a 90s boy band. In the final moments, when all seems lost, Mark makes the most insane play of the tournament. He simply abandons his goal and rushes to the attack, sending the entire stadium into a panic, and he scores. The goalkeeper, along with Axel and Austin, secures the winning goal. The stadium erupts, and Inazuma Japan is crowned world champions. Amid the celebration, Mark is reunited with his long-lost grandfather, David. The old man gives him that classic movie advice.
You must develop the ability to change the atmosphere, exactly like the stars that shine in the sky. Be the best I know you can be.
With the trophy in hand and their mission accomplished, the team heads home. But their next battle isn't on a soccer field, it's graduation. Back in Japan with world champion medals around their necks, the members of Inazuma Japan face reality. Their time at Raymond Junior High is coming to an end. On graduation day, the mood is pure nostalgia. Mark and his friends visit the old, dilapidated soccer field where it all began for a moment of reflection. They start to recall the greatest hits of their journey, like a live action previously on Inazuma 11, the day they convinced Axel to join the team, the rivalry with Jude that turned into a strong friendship, and all the hardships they overcame together. After the sentimental moment, the graduation ceremony takes place. One by one, they receive their diplomas, and we realize how fast time has flown. But you can't end a soccer saga without one last match, right? They organize a farewell game, a true school all-star game, bringing together the current team, former members, and even old rivals. It's the nostalgia dream team. The ball rolls, the game begins, and suddenly, a mysterious event occurs, leaving everyone frozen in place. Fortunately, it wasn't some other alien or anything like that. It's just the members of the Royal Academy arriving to watch the game. The graduation match begins in true Avengers vs. Avengers style, with the current team facing off against the veterans in a game that's pure nostalgia and a high-octane brawl. Austin's already showing how far he's come, firing a Gladius Arch +2 straight at the goal, but Mark is in full-on brick wall mode and makes a spectacular save. Next up is Kevin with his Dragon Slayer version 3, but Darren seems to have unlocked Ultra Instinct and blocks the ball. The field becomes a parade of insane Hisatsu techniques. Hurley summons the Typhoon, which is stopped by Todd, while Scott responds with Whirlwind Force. Things get so intense that we even see combination plays, like the perfect tower from Eric and Sean, and solo attacks that look like they're from another anime, such as Shadow's Dark Tornado, but nothing gets past Captain Mark, who makes a save for the history books. The pace only intensifies when Axel, the Flame Striker, unleashes his Fireball Screw. But guess what? Darren blocks it again, proving he's the true MVP of the match. While the battle rages on the field, the mood in the stands is one of farewell, with Celia and the others already thinking about the future. The game ends in a 0-0 draw, but the score is the least important thing because the level of skill was out of this world. To end on a high note, Mark gives one of his signature chill-inducing speeches, thanking everyone and talking about his passion for the sport. He lays it on the line, keep playing soccer, reminding them that every game is a new chance to become stronger. Time flashes forward 10 years, and we see the Raymond Soccer Club. There, a new energetic kid appears, ready to start a new legend.
A new history.